Hey everybody, and welcome to the very much cel-shaded half of Addicted to Loot, at least from...
Cel-shaded?
Well, that's what it looks like. I just noticed it on screen. You're very much like Two-Face Sin City.
I believe in minimal colors.
Very moody
High
lighting.
Contrast.
But it is the Addicted to Loot podcast, time of the week, episode 49.
Wow. It is almost our 1 year anniversary.
Almost. Episode 51. We're not going backwards. Episode 51. Yep. It's actually going to be our 1 year. 1 year.
2 year minus one.
2 year minus 1 year anniversary. But yeah. So that's going to be a huge. We have to think of something special to do for that. We'll have to put our brain together.
I'm still saying we should do a giveaway.
Even 3 free games of the week.
Holy shit.
Ooh.
Let's just give away so many links to free games. No, but we might seriously do that because that's something I've been thinking about. So
definitely. So stay tuned for our actual big 1 year anniversary of the Addicted to Loot podcast. We just want to say thanks to everyone for joining us. Addicted to Loot is a upgaming upbeat gaming conglomerate, if you will, that features our Addicted to Loot website, this podcast, Twitch and YouTube, Twitch streams and YouTube videos, and we invite everyone to come every week and join us on the podcast so that we get some, live feedback from our viewers, just like you that are out there listening to us.
Hi, chat.
And thank you for everyone that has dropped a review on any one of our numerous audio hostings thus far. Anyone else, if you'd be so graciously enough to maybe just drop a very honest review, good, bad, or indifferent. We just like to hear from you guys. So thank you all very much for that and any future stuff you help us with. Hey, Ocean Floor, speaking of which. So this week is actually going to be kind of a special feature episode in the sense that...
Oh, that's a good way to put it. This is going to be a real special episode because there's no news.
Because, well, we would like to see it as this is going to be an episode where we specialize on our playlist as opposed to our news section. So this week is actually... We've decided
to do something special for this episode. We're just going to focus on that.
We're going to be more dominated by our playlist than our news. So we're actually going to be talking about far more... reviews, impressions, and actual just real live in-game experiences for us that we've had over the big holiday week and a half.
It's really weird because I didn't really think that this was a holiday week previously, but there have been so many like 4th of July, Independence Day sales across everything. You know, I bought some new music toys through Musician's Friend and just stuff like that. It's like these crazy sales all over the place.
You got the Steam Summer Sale and everything going on. It's a crazy time.
I have bought stuff now. I have made some purchases. Yes, I bought... I'll be talking about one of them later, but I bought Remember Me.
I'm interested to hear about that because I remember Me. And I always remember the fact that when it first came out, I was like, man, this game looks shiny. And then it was just like... Oh, it got really shitty reviews, so I guess I'll just leave it. Because didn't that originally come out on the PlayStation? Like, I thought it was like a launch title for one of the PlayStations or something like that.
I have no idea,
and then but like you said,
it was one of those things where it was like, this looks so great, and it's $60, and the reviews are like middling, and so the price was great. It was like $6 or something with the DLC. So I'm excited to play it. If nothing else, just dial the difficulty down because people say that the combat is kind of the uninteresting part. So if that's the case, but the story and world is good, then what I've done with games like that in the past is just dial the difficulty all the way down, get through combat as quick as possible, and just enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to that. I also picked up some Amanita Design games that I actually didn't have yet, and they're the folks who did Samaros. So I picked up Machinarium and Botanicula. So I'm looking forward to playing those. Surprised I haven't actually played them yet. And I picked up something else that, again, I'll be talking about later.
More to that to come. But we will actually get into our kind of brief news section this week. And we say brief, meaning that it will probably still end up for us going 4 hours long because we manage to usually do that. But we wanted to say that, first news item is Summer Games Done Quick is well underway. It's still underway, right? It's still actually ongoing.
Yes. Yeah, it's in the middle of the week right now. So
exactly. And it's going well. And they're also doing their standard raising money for all the charities. So if you would like to stop by...
their Prime one... their prime one is Doctors Without Borders. They've already raised, oh God, I should know the number. I'm sorry, I don't actually, but they've raised a lot. As usual, they tend to raise, God, over $1 million. Like, it's crazy. The amount of money that is made through this. They do some really cool things. They do donation incentives. For those unfamiliar, Summer Games Done Quick is the summer version of Awesome Games Done Quick, which is a week-long event of people speedrunning games. And usually by speedrunning, it doesn't necessarily mean just playing them fast. It means they're doing glitches, or there's certain parameters that are set for each, one where it could say, oh, you only have to finish the game, or you have to finish the game, but it has to be glitchless, or things like that. Sometimes the glitches are funny. Sometimes they're really interesting. You see some cool stuff. Sometimes I've used it literally to just see a game that I'd never played. Like the very first one was a run of Nier Automata, and every time I look at that game, I'm like, this is just not my jam. This isn't my kind of game. But I watched the entire run, so I got to really quickly, and it was a mostly glitchless enough that I could tell what the story was and where it was going, and it's cool. Like I did the same thing with the new Wolfenstein game. I pretty much experienced the whole game just by watching the speedrun of it, and it was like, cool. I probably wouldn't buy this or play it, but now I've got that game in my consciousness. But it's really cool. Everyone's really great and fun, and it's just it's a fun time.
Currently, they are doing Mega Man X, and the guy,
yes, it's probably their Mega Man block right now.
Yeah, and they're currently up to $535,718.
And this is like the fourth day, I think.
So they're well under the way of their typical usual income of well over $1 million. So if you want to go have some fun, support a good cause, go check out Summer Games Done Quick. Search for that search of it, and it will come right up. So usually the first thing that comes up.
We've actually been guest hosting it here, so on our channel as well. Surprise, I set that up like the other day.
How dare you? We do not support charities on this stream.
They were speedrunning Tony Hawk games yesterday, and that was really fun to watch. Because it's largely an actual speed run. Like, it's not that they were breaking the rules or anything. They were just, okay, we're gonna, you've got 2 minutes to do all the goals, go for it. Just going for everything and having an optimal line through. It's like a ballet, when someone does it really well. I remember spending
like days in Tony Hawk 2 figuring out how to get.
They played 2, yeah.
How to get the secret token at the very top of the first level. That was because you're in this really junky warehouse, and it was that one where there was a half-pipe ramp, and then there's a little glass building, and it was on top of the glass building.
Was that Chicago?
Or something I just remember trying forever to figure out a way to get on top of the glass building to get the thing inside of it, to get my last skull for that stupid map. But that was back in the good old days of Tony Hawk 2. Oh, I miss Tony Hawk 2.
Was that Underground 2 or Pro Skater 2?
Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, so that's way back.
Way back in the mid-90s. PlayStation 1 era. I mean, way back. Right?
And
I think it was PlayStation 1.
Could have been the very end of the PS1.
Yeah, PS1.
Because American Wasteland was PS2. Underground, the Underground ones were PS2. Definitely.
Yeah, I believe it was PlayStation 1. Still,
American Wasteland, best Tony Hawk, fight me. I'll take on anyone. American Wasteland is the best.
I think Wasteland and the ones before it were very different. I'll put it that way. I think Wastelands was the best one of its little genre, and then after that, they all just kind of sucked.
But an
open world skating.
Underground 2 Wasteland generation.
Yeah, of the open world skating genre versus all the original Tony Hawks where you have a map, you have a time, you have a skater, do the things. It wasn't like open world. It wasn't.
Well, that ended up becoming what they called. That ended up becoming their classic mode,
exactly,
which was the Pro Skater.
So that's what I'm saying. So the classic games, I don't know. I would have to. I would still have to really search my soul for that because I have so many hours synced into Tony Hawk games. And oh my god, what was the BMX one? The it's gonna annoy me now.
Was Matt Hoffman involved?
Matt Hoffman, yes.
Yeah.
BMX. Yeah. Oh, I missed that game. The game where if you hit all the shoulder buttons at once, your character just went ragdoll and fell off his bike. That was my favorite thing to do. You'd get as fast as you can, get as much air as you can, and just smash all the buttons, and he would just fall off the bike and just smack.
Yeah, no, I love those types of games, like SSX games, Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder. I love that genre of sport games.
Sporting all the games.
Yeah, I don't know what to call it, like extreme sports games, like BMX and snowboarding kind of games, stuff like that.
That works for me.
They also did a speed run. The Half-Life ones are always really interesting to watch because of the stuff they do. They fly. There was something. Oh, Super Monkey Ball. If you can watch the Super Monkey Ball one, it's long, but it is fascinating just to see someone like, because they're mostly playing it properly, and just to see them finding these perfect lines through the levels, like it just no time at all. It's incredible. It's absolutely fascinating stuff. But that's Games Done Quick. Check it out.
So we have some controversy in the gaming world, primarily around the well-fabled Mass Effect Andromeda, which in of itself has had a lot of issues to begin with. It doesn't need any more drama, but, well, it somehow found its way back into the limelight of drama.
Like last week when I was like, okay, this is my definitive review of Mass Effect, I thought, okay, that's it. That's
there's no more
here we are, once again.
There's no more hate for Mass Effect after Tommy's review. No, well, there's plenty more. Well, here's the story. So, initially, a little studio that was claiming to have worked with BioWare, specifically making DLCs for them, has stated that BioWare canceled the single-player DLC for Andromeda, which people then flew off the handle saying, oh my god, Andromeda did as bad as everyone thought it did. There was a news release from BioWare that said, we've never heard of these people.
Literally. It was so funny. They're like, we've literally never heard of this company before.
So please don't trust them at all. And then...
However.
And then other people came out of the woodwork. Actual BioWare / I would say subsidiary companies of BioWare employees came out and said, yeah, I work for BioWare. They did cancel it. And they go,
yeah.
You know what? Maybe we did cancel that.
Well, they have not outwardly said anything, but it seems like the general consensus. Just this is all hearsay. This is all secondhand. You know, I heard from somebody who told this guy who knew someone, kind of stuff. But they're saying that basically all the focus, which it appears to be, has gone onto the multiplayer. They completely gutted their team and said, go work on Anthem, which is BioWare's new thing. They said, just forget it. Forget Mass Effect. Leave it behind. It's Chinatown. Forget it. You know, and that does seem like literally, I think it was today, they've announced that they're going to be introducing the race of the Batarian aliens to the multiplayer with no explanation, at least not yet. And that's something that would be a single player DLC. Because, you know, the game literally ends. It's a spoiler, but it's appearing in all the news releases. The game literally ends saying, well, you know, the Quarian arc is, you know, delayed because of reasons. And that had a lot of other Mass Effect original trilogy races, the Elcor and such, on there. So are they integrate? The only thing I can think of, if this is all true, that they could be integrating it and saying, all right, through the multiplayer, we'll say, oh yes, the Quarian arc has arrived, and on it are Batarians and Quarians and stuff, I guess, completely.
I guess they could, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like it would be relatively light. But to be fair, the fact that they're going all multiplayer to me seems like it's probably the smartest move they can make with Andromeda. Because
I was bitching recently. I can't remember if it was on here or not, but how GTA 5. I just was shouting out the window.
I was gonna say,
I was shouting to the neighborhood. Can you believe that GTA 5 still has no single player DLC? And it's like GTA Online is so immensely freaking popular. That's still one of the most.
From a business perspective, you can't blame them for doing it. For Andromeda, I think multiplayer...
Mass Effect is a single-player franchise first and foremost. Well, GTA 2, I guess. So never mind.
But still, the fact that Andromeda... I actually kind of like the multiplayer better than the single-player sometimes. So
the multiplayer is good. I'm definitely not hating on it.
But to be fair, though, I mean, to your point, it is not... I mean, that is not a Mass Effect game. Mass Effect games always lived and died by their single-player. Multiplayer was an add-on to appease the EA overlords back when EA bought, BioWare.
And the thing is, they developed it for Mass Effect 3, and it was really great. And so they were like, "Oh, jeez, that's going to be a really part of Andromeda."
But at the same time, it just kind of shows. It's almost like they're finally showing their hand, going, "Okay, guys, yep, we know we fucked up. This is a shitty game. We'll just keep on giving you what you want for now, just to let the game keep going." But it's like, you know, we need to squeeze some money out of this dead horse. So let's just multiplayer.
Since thinking about how Spider-Man Homecoming is coming out this weekend, I almost wonder if they're just going to do like another Mass Effect Andromeda like 3 years from now, like how they did like Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. They were like, "Oh, those didn't do well. Okay, let's just do the whole thing again."
But did you guys just do that game? No, it went from Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, nothing.
And
Mass Effect
in Family Guy. In Family Guy, when they're visiting Germany and they're looking through the tour guide, they're like, "Yeah, there's nothing here in like the 1940s. Yeah, everyone was on vacation. Nothing happened."
It's basically what it's going to be. It's going to be, we completely understand that nothing happened after Mass Effect 3, and we really felt bad for you guys, so here's a sequel.
I feel bad because they've got no reason to retcon Andromeda. It's good, it's viable, and it can live in the Mass Effect universe. But it's like,
that is the nice thing about this, is that they made it to have no tie to the first series and no tie to any series, supposedly. Even though, to your point, they've left the ending open of could there be more? But
it's not even could there be more? It's there's more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It literally ends with, "There's more. We'll see you with our next."
Which is complete and utter BS, because the whole point of Andromeda, and the only reason why I kind of tolerated the idea of a really shitty open world game, is the fact that it's going to be a one-time thing that would not live on in infamy, that would just be like, you know what, we wanted to do a different adventure, give you a different thing that purely was on exploration, which is bullshit, because it wasn't. And
our regular like listeners and viewers right now have got to be like, what is wrong with Brian and Tom? Like we feel really passionately about this.
We really love Mass Effect. We really love BioWare. We really dislike Andromeda. So for us, this is like blasphemy.
Such a champion for Andromeda. Yeah, I was such a champion for Andromeda until I started to finish it.
I was kind of a skeptic, and I will fully say that. But at the same time, I was, the Mass Effect fan in me was like, just give it a chance, it's okay. But no, this is bullshit. And the fact that they even hinted at sequels is absolutely like a slap in the face to the community.
It's not even a hint, it's an overt, like,
that's what I'm saying, like,
we're having a sequel.
There's like, that's like, as a community, we should all just be like, really guys, really?
Yeah.
Hey, guess what? Here's the exact article where you say, and I quote, there won't not be a sequel. This is a standalone game. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, like, come on.
It was made with the intention of further development. And I know, Mass Effect Andromeda specifically had a very troubled, very last-minute development cycle because of, changes in the project and perspective and stuff like that. But they didn't... If they had these, like, big, grand ideas, they could have either tied them up, even if it was a shitty little thing. But they just left it open. They left all these things open in such a way that it's like, oh, of course that's going to be a DLC. Oh, of course that's going to be a sequel,
It would have been far better if they just never did Andromeda and just put on a... Well, hear me out. Well, it would have been a much better idea.
That does solve the problem, however.
Okay, well, ta-da, I finished. Yeah. I solved the problem.
You're a genius.
But, like, it would have completely left the Mass Effect name intact. And if they really wanted to do something... If they were going to rush it, they should have just not rushed it. Maybe have actually came out with a very, like, delayed surprise Mass Effect 3 DLC. And, like, purely to add something to it that maybe you didn't know about before in the original series. Just to tide people over. And then put all their effort into... What the hell is the new one again? Anthem?
Anthem, yeah.
Put all their eggs into that basket, because realistically, it could... actually be a decent game, maybe, question mark.
Well,
my BioWare like get out of jail free cards have kind of run out. But
Ubisoft has been kind of doing this because they have, Far Cry has the kind of in between ones like Far Cry Primal or Blood Dragon, which are great games.
Blood Dragon wasn't bad. Primal, meh.
Right, they're great games. They're amazing. Blood Dragon's an amazing game, but they're not full releases. And Assassin's Creed has done that. They have the here's Assassin's Creed 3, and then here's Assassin's Creed, was it the Freedom's Protocol or something like that, where they have kind of like a mini game.
Because it went from 1 to
Brotherhood, yeah,
Unity.
exactly. Right.
I mean, there's all different types of them. But to be fair, it's not a great practice.
No.
Brotherhood was good. I was gonna say, in general, it is never a good practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a problem. I feel like a lot of the AAA titles, a lot of AAA companies are very following suit with everyone else. They're like, we are a AAA company. We must make game. Oh, we need to make more money. Okay, here's side game that sucks. Yay! Everyone buys it because
Johnson, we need a shitty game.
I mean,
can you get us a crap game in like 6 months?
Think about it. I mean, like Infinite Warfare, Assassin's Creed 27, Mass Effect Andromeda. It literally could have just been a crap in a box with a different logo on the front of it. Like they don't put their effort into actually doing novel things, and frankly, the small studios of Insomniac, which is doing, the whole Spider-Man, right? The next Spider-Man game on.
Jeez, yeah.
I mean,
or is it Naughty Dog? One of those two. I always get them mixed
Insomniac.
up.
One of the two. Think about these companies. These are like mid-tier companies. Like if you wanted to give an equivalent, maybe like AA, maybe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, like single A would just be like the people that are like making it in their garage kind of thing, or people that have a few people production
advanced
teams.
indies.
Exactly. I mean, these studios would be like AA teams, and they're great. They put out stuff because they go, you know what? We had The Last of Us. We had Resistance. Uncharted. We had Ratchet and Clank. I mean, they have all these games. They're like, you know what? When it ran its course, We're done. We're moving on. We're making a new project. And then you get games like the whole brand new Spider-Man game that was debuted in E3 that looks, oh my freaking god, jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
I would completely take that Spider-Man game, completely sight unseen, over like the last 6 Assassin's Creeds, the last 3 Call of Duties. I mean, it makes so much more sense versus, it's like Apple. It literally is like Apple. Apple's like, just keep putting shit out. We already have them in the addiction pool.
Have we run out of numbers? Let's start adding letters to the end of this iPhone.
It's basically like, people will buy it because it's the new thing. Once you get to that point, you take... It's like the crutch system. If you give someone a crutch, they forget how to walk. I mean, so realistically, these people have just been using the crutch of slap Call of Duty on it. It will sell. And it's over and over and over and over.
I was looking at Call of Duty games during the Steam sale, and I was looking at what was Infinite Warfare, right? It's the last one.
It's the latest one, yeah.
And just the reviews are just like... Blah, 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 blah.
And you know what? It probably still made...
I thought that was going to be a good one, too.
And it probably still made a crap ton of money because hashtag Call of Duty, we want some kind of multiplayer because I need to pwn noobs, hashtag, yeah. Hashtag
give me the newest noob pwning simulator.
Hashtag 12-year-old pubescent boy calling out a 40-year-old guy. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yes, that specific... I don't hate on fans of Call of Duty or
no, but
proverbial,
there is a dark side of the FPS fan base,
right?
Which
absolutely
most people associate with it, which is usually the reason why I can't really play them for fun anymore, because it's like, I'm just learning the game. Literally, hit start. Boop, you're a bitch. What the? I didn't even start yet. Come on. like it was just like, really? It's like, direct message. You suck. Direct message. Die. What?
I haven't even loaded the game yet.
It's like, it's like in the same package. You get a box from Amazon. Oh, my brand new Call of Duty game. Wait, why is there an envelope in here? Okay. From Billy. You suck. What?
You suck.
It came in the same package? Man.
Billy, 69. Nice.
Props. But, but you know what I mean? Like, that's the problem with this whole thing. And just to kind of bring the point full circle with Andromeda, the fact that there's no single player DLC is probably for the better. Put the nail in the coffin. Yeah. Let it rest. Put it behind you. Shake it off. And try to put out a decent game in Anthem. But we all know there's going to be an Anthem 5 eventually. And by that time, we're all going to hate it. So that's the thing. Like, if they actually did... I don't know. I hate the fact that they're making me jaded against themselves. Like, when I used to love this company.
I know.
Up to a certain
love
point.
BioWare. I love BioWare.
I mean, they're still doing the old
I've
Republic.
defended them amongst the filth. you know.
Yes, we both have for quite a long time. I mean, look at the Old Republic; it's still going so well, and then
I'm a huge Dragon Age 2 apologist, and that's one of the most contentious ones out there. I'm like, it's a great game. Go play Dragon Age 2.
I fully don't support any game past Dragon Age 1.
That's literally all of the other ones.
But yeah, no. I mean, just to try to put...
It's tough. It's a tough situation.
It really is. But
it's a really tough one.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, we go on these ranty spiels.
Oh, we've reached this point.
Yeah. I mean, just to bring this full circle, we go on these ranty spiels of just like... We usually aren't super cynical. We usually aren't a super critical... cast. We usually try to find the good in everything, but the reason why we get this way is because of how passionate we are for the games that were once the crowning achievements of BioWare. It's like that time where you see the where they've been and where they're going, and you yourself almost take it as like a personal attack for the fact that it's like you're robbing me of my original impression of the company, of the games I used to love, especially Mass Effect. Like if it would have just been like Stevie Bob's Andromeda. I'd have been like, you know what? They took a shot at making an open world game, it didn't succeed, whatever. But the fact that Mass Effect,
one of the best things about Sleeping Dogs was a true crime series, the true crime series, which was like one of those not GTA knockoff, but it wasn't. I want to be GTA, but I'm not quite kind of games, like the original Saints Row games. And whenever they just said, you know what, let's just make this a separate game instead of tying it to the True Crime franchise. Because if that came out and it was like True Crime Hong Kong, I guarantee I wouldn't have given it the time of day. I would have just been like GTA in China. I would have just been like, yeah, and people could have said, this is a surprisingly good game for a True Crime game. But because they said, Sleeping Dogs, do you like Hong Kong cinema? Here's a cool game. And just like, it's sort of like you said about the Spider-Man one, like sight unseen. Whoa, sign me up. And then as I played it, I'm like, oh, this is one of my favorite games now. Wow.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's better to cast off. And maybe, part of me wants to believe, it's very, very doubtful, but part of me wants to believe that Anthem might take the better parts of Andromeda. And it might be one of those things where it's an iteration of things you saw. Because Andromeda had stuff from Inquisition. Inquisition had stuff from Dragon Age 2. Andromeda...
You're not getting... You highlighted all the games that gave BioWare trouble. So they're building off of the games that were really low
Tell me
rated.
that Anthem is based on Dragon Age Origins in space, and I will die.
Exactly.
I will.
That was kind of my point.
You know what is Dragon Age Origins in space? I'll tell you what is Star Wars: The Old Republic.
It's pretty close. I wouldn't say it's all the way there, but it's probably the closest you would get.
Mm-hmm. It even shares animations with at least Dragon Age 2. I have seen Star Wars characters doing animations, and I'm like, that was a guy in Kirkwall. That was the priest. I recognize that animation. They just have certain ones. Because, when you play hundreds of hours of a game, eventually you see the same guy going... enough that you start to recognize it.
For all those on the podcast.
Just imagine a really rigid hand trying to scratch a brow.
But
and clipping through it.
I do kind of hope that they learn some mistakes from Andromeda and apply them to Anthem. Anthem, at the surface, looks like maybe, I don't know.
I think Anthem
so far,
is a bunch of people who played Destiny that said, let's make one.
Yeah, and instead of aliens, you're fighting like animals or mystical creatures or shit like that.
Giant robot dinosaurs.
So far, like
at the last minute, some people played Horizon Zero Dawn and were like, "Oh, let's get
Destiny
some of those."
And so far, the best thing about Anthem from I've seen might just be the jetpacking. That looks about like maybe the only thing that looks like it's novel, like the Iron Manning around the map.
Mm-hmm. Hashtag Iron Manning.
Iron Manning.
I mean, I like
Iron Peyton Manning.
I like the traversal mechanics in Andromeda. I like the movement in Andromeda a lot, actually. I like that the best of all the Mass Effect games. But
Yeah, because the other Mass Effect games, they really didn't have it.
Yeah, and you can't base a game on that alone. You can't just say, hey, we've got really awesome walking. Unless it's a walking simulator. Then it's literally your selling point.
Welcome to Addicted to Contradiction. But anyway.
Contradicted to loot.
Contradicted.
If we did episode titles, that'd be this one.
How about
I'm going to write that down. I want to remember that.
Contradicted to loot.
That's going in our episode summary.
So
that was a little behind the scenes for you guys.
Let's save the contradiction and move on to something maybe more of a generic discussion that anyone could realistically participate in. Mm-hmm. So I brought this up because I was reading an interesting article on Crackdown 3. Mm-hmm. It actually sounded pretty intriguing. They actually were talking about it in the sense of, this could be the type of superhero game that we've been needing over the past couple years, kind of thing. Because it's massively open world, there's over-the-top powers, it's fully destructible environment, it's over-the-top weapons, and blah, 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 same old
That's
spiel.
Cool. It's like a comic book
it's
game.
It's kind of like Saints Row 4, just not Saints Row 4. You play a good guy, it's in the modern age. Imagine what you will. But the main thing I wanted to talk about out of this article was that they highlighted the fact that one of the things that makes this game great is our skill curve, that you go from feeling like an average Joe to feeling like a badass superhero before the end of the game. However, at the same time, they then said, yes, the advancement system is a mechanic where you go around and basically just collect power-ups, or you do certain things and you basically can just grind up the powers. And I actually wanted to have hope you're enjoying your food, by the way.
I'm like, he's keeping such a straight face through this.
I wanted to have an actual general conversation on the fact of organic versus inorganic advancement. And the best way I can put this is basically, organic advancement is when you're in a game, you grind, you progress through the story, and as you progress through the story, you unlock things. Your character gets better based on experience, knowledge, discovery, so on and so forth. It becomes.
So you're saying like there's a narrative tie with your skill increase. Like,
exactly.
You've learned this new skill because we've researched it. We've unlocked this.
Or you met up with Jimmy the Hunter who showed you how to
That's what I mean.
use a new tool, or you broke into an old research base and found the gravity gun or whatever else. So things like that. They're organic. They are, you could even kind of say, in sort of ways, any game that allows you to level up through XP is kind of sort of organic advancement in that kind of way. Not to the
XP as a concept rather than literally a currency.
Yeah. So compare that to inorganic advancement, which to me would be
literal experience points. Like literally experience points. Yeah.
And the inorganic advancement to me would be like Far Cry, a game where you advance by literally collecting. You could go from, hey, here's the world, to never touch a mission, never touch anything, and just grind and become become the ultimate person.
MMOs.
Yeah, basically MMOs, Far Cry, what sounds to be like Crackdown 3, games where you could literally just collect your way up to being better. Like, you could literally grind your way up to being 3/4 of the way skill tree unlocked before you do the first story mission. That's not really accurate because obviously your character is not that far in the environment of the story.
Right.
So I actually wanted to have a conversation on like the pros and cons of both. Like, I'm far more in the camp of organic advancement versus inorganic advancement, because one of the things that I hated about Far Cry was the fact that don't get me wrong, the crafting and the gathering was fun, it was well done, but at the same time, I sprinted through, I did as many of the collectibles as I could, just real quick because they were around, I could do them, I was in the neighborhood kind of thing, so I collected them. But then as soon as I started to then use those same collectibles in the main story missions, I'm like, well, this is kind of boring because, I got the pack that lets me have 4x the first aid kit capacity. Obviously, the first mission's so much easier because I can just sit there and like bandage and bandage and bandage and bandage, as opposed to, oh my god, I'm a novice. I don't know how to use a knife. Oh no, I better be safe because one bullet could hurt me. Now it's just like, who gives a crap?
Well, it's like the Lara Croft, Tomb Raider reboot. You could tell what I pay attention to in those games. The Tomb Raider reboot back in 2013 got a bit of flack because of this whole thing. Reminds me of the term ludonarrative dissonance, where it's the game's story is at odds with the game's game. And so, like, Tomb Raider in particular, like, I remember one of the earliest things that happens is, she's just a girl. She's just an explorer out, I'm research things. I like the idea of history and ancient history. And then all of a sudden she's abandoned on this island and she has to kill a deer. And it's like this drawn out, grueling process of her. Like, she's so sad and apologetic that she has to take this deer's life, and she's gutting it with an arrow. And she's just like, oh, this is horrible. Fast forward half an hour into the game, and Lara Croft has dual AK-47s and is like, because that's how you can play it, and it just, there are some games that do this pretty well. I think that actually XCOM 2 is a good one because you're researching literally, you're researching. So it's like, we killed this enemy type. As a result, we can now examine that exact enemy type if you bring it back to base and learn something from his armor. And then now you can use that type of armor, which is better than our, ramshackle human armor. That makes sense and is really cool. It's the idea of, like, literally knowing your enemy, and then you're advancing as you progress. Your literally your experiences are teaching you. You're like, oh, they're weak to this. I know because I tried this strategy.
Yeah, and I think that perfectly makes sense.
Saints Row 4 does a similar thing, where you're actually unlocking more knowledge as you go.
Well, as we were talking about before, Saints Row 4 is kind of a mixture between the two. You have the opportunity to inorganically grind the maximum potential of the skills that you organically lock. Basically, you have one tier, you can unlock everything, and then you go to the next tier, you can unlock anything in any order you want. But even XCOM is kind of a unique situation, because XCOM isn't. I'll say it's roughly a story-driven game, but XCOM is basically you have missions, you do your thing. It's not exactly a narrative game. It's a game where
it's a narrative in the sense of, like, you've got a point A and a point B, and the game is getting there.
Yeah, but it's not like you're gonna
hours to get there.
It's not like you figure out, oh my god, he's my dad, or oh shit, we found a new
not
document.
It's not strong narrative.
It's not a strong narrative game. Yeah. But I feel like the reason why I would prefer organic versus inorganic is a sense of, in an inorganic environment, the difficulty of the game as well as the narrative itself is strongly controlled. It's like a very controlled environment. It's very well driven. Like, you could literally say, like, we could make this level this difficult because we know exactly what this person has. If you have an inorganic system, you are forced to make the game as is and then hope that either the fact that it's too hard motivates someone to inorganically grind for a while, or the fact that someone inorganically grind for too long that it just makes the game boring. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's you take.
Well, I'm thinking about Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda, games like that. I'm always at odds with wanting to know exactly kind of where the game wants me to be in terms of advancement, because when you get something where it's like, yeah, here, you have this entire planet, and then you do, like, the objective that you came there for, and then it's like, all right, now come back to the Nexus when you can. Do they want me to continue to explore the planet, or do they want me to go back to the Nexus? And sometimes it's one and sometimes it's the other, because you'll go back to, say, the Nexus, which is like your kind of home base. And then they'll say, all right, cool, good. Now head back to the planet and clean up, and it's like, oh, okay. So either you've done it all already. Sometimes you come across stuff like, again, I'm thinking of Andromeda. I've come across areas on planets where it's like, I don't know what this is. This is a locked door. I can't, am I supposed to be trying to figure something out here or what? Fast forward hours into the game and it's like, we need you to go back down to Eos because we've just found this door that's unlocked. And it's like, okay.
Yeah,
I'm always at odds with there are some games not to continue hating on Mass Effect Andromeda, but there are just some games where it's like, I don't know what the developers are trying to get me to do. You know, there's a certain bit of, we want you to do what you want, but also not entirely.
See, like a game. Well, since we're on the topic, let's go to Dragon Age 1. Dragon Age 1. I mean, realistically, you could experience any mission and any part of any one of the side quests at any given time in Dragon Age 1.
It's literally like you've got 3 areas. Go to it. Each of these are going to be like 60 hours.
But each one actually matched wherever you were at in the game. So in that sense, you couldn't physically grind. There's times where the game was just gonna be hard because it was a boss battle, it was an ambush, it was something. Like there's just times where it's just hard. Like you physically could not have prepared yourself any better. That's just how you are at that moment in the game. It either
what Dragon Age Origins did, and BioWare games in general did previously, like I'm thinking of up to Mass Effect 2, is they gave you the freedom to choose one of X amount of things to go to, but each of those things were almost in themselves a linear game with, this is the easy part, this is the medium part, this is the hard part, and here's your final boss. No matter which you're going to pick, it has that same scale, you know? So like I'm thinking of Origins. Okay, I'm going to go to the Brazilian forest. All right, so, hey, there's some stuff that's going on here. Now I got to go into the tombs. Oh, no, the elves, what? Werewolves, blah, blah, blah. Final boss. That's the end. Or you could say, I'm going to Orzammar. I'm going to the Deep Roads. Okay, I go there. Oh, there's some stuff that's going on. Oh, this woman's gone missing. Oh, whoa, big Gollum stuff. Yeah, end of that narrative. So they all had mini escalations within them that kept it, like you said, you always were going to have your easy, medium, hard flow.
Yep.
It wasn't like you were going to go in over-prepared or under-prepared. It just was going to match.
That was what it was. You could not control it. That's just exactly what the game wanted you to experience at that moment.
And the thing about something like games like Dragon Age is more so when you unlock stuff, you're unlocking just more rather than getting better. You're just unlocking more options.
You got new skills. You got different types of skills. You've improved your skills.
A game that we're going to be talking about later, Secret World Legends, that's literally you just kind of come in with your, all right, I can handle most everything that's around my level, but you just start getting more options, you unlock.
It's like any standard MMO, it's going to be that way where you can literally just grind whatever zone you're in, never
Skyrim.
A mission. Skyrim's the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, Skyrim realistically, it's all the same. It's eventually you hit certain missions that are kind of the same level. Sometimes the final mission could be super easy if you did every other mission in the game, or it could be super hard if you did it first. I mean, it completely and utterly depends, because I know people that said, it took me a while before I completed the main story mission and I got to the final boss and I'm just like, this guy's a chump. Like, it was like I fought ogres harder than him. And then it's
I ran into that with Skyrim.
Yeah, I mean, but there's
you get to that whole final level and you're just kind of like, okay.
Because games like, Bioshock Infinite, the original Bioshocks, Advanced Warfare, I'm just trying to think of all the really good classic narrative games, The Last of Us. I mean, they all feature advancement that was built into the story, where physically you could make some choices, but for the most part, that was basically contained within the game. You could not break out of it. You could not do anything that would impede your experience of the game. And also, it made sense. Like you said before, it's like in Bioshock Infinite, it was like, oh, you went into a factory, you found a new type of gun. Oh, therefore, I have this gun now. I can do more things.
Yes, exactly.
Or I found a new type of power. That was the whole thing. So that was exactly what, I personally, saying from just me, myself, and I would personally prefer an organic advancement system versus an inorganic advancement system. And I think that also stems from the whole open world environment, because in an open world game, you have to have an inorganic advancement system. And to me, that is one of the reasons why these games are so double-minded. Like they seem like they're two halves of two different games versus one game in of itself.
And I like being, or at least having access to, if I want to increase my skill, I can, but I don't need to kind of mentality. I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but MMOs actually, Star Wars: The Old Republic is one that kind of does that. Where, because when I first played it, my first character, the Imperial Agent, I did all the side quests. I did all. There's like, it's funny because it's like there's the main quest, there's side quests, and then there's literally something that you can you only get through clicking a little checkbox on the map. That's like side quests. They're like the tiniest of side quests. And I did all of those for the Imperial side. And so when I was careening through that story, every single thing was like no challenge. So I was able to just completely enjoy the story. And then the next character I played was the Sith Warrior. And so I thought, okay, well, I've done all these side quests. I don't need to do them. And all of a sudden I was starting to really get challenged. There were some fights where I felt like I was behind the 8 ball. And I thought, oh, I need to actually do some of these side quests just so I can get to the right level. It wasn't too bad. Actually, it was only with the Sith Inquisitor that I ran into ones where I was like, oh my God, I actually have to like grind for once. You know, I had to just stop and redo a couple of quests until I was at the correct level. But if you just even casually do the main quest and side quests in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the flow is good. You stay pretty much. There's always a little bit of a challenge, but it's not like, well, this is impossible. Mm-hmm. So that's one that does that well, where you can, if you really want the challenge, you can just skip the side quest and do the main story, but it's going to be hard and tough as nails sometimes.
Yeah, eventually it does catch up to you. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Borderlands. You
can overpower yourself. So
Borderlands was the same way. You could literally just do the main storyline, which I know some people did because if you just do the main storyline, the difficulty of the side quests doesn't change, but the rewards of the side quest change.
Sure.
So people would just somehow barely squeak through the main storyline, leave all the side quests alone, max out the game, max out the level, and then go back and do all of them to get all the experience. Sure. Basically, it was a giant experience jump. But
I'm gonna be talking about this a little bit later. But Everspace actually has a system where you can choose easy, medium, hard. And medium, or I guess normal, probably it's called, you earn the intended amount of experience.
1.0.
Yeah. And easy, I think it's like you earn 25% less of everything. And Everspace is a roguelike. So,
which is an interesting system for a roguelike.
By choosing easy, you're saying, okay, yes, these fights are going to be easier, but it's going to take you more to get, you know, it makes complete sense. Yeah, you know, it's a game that you're playing and replaying just to get loot and to get experience. So it's like, well, I want to play easy. Okay, you're gonna get less stuff because you're putting in less effort. And I thought, okay, that's cool. That works.
Let's come back to that because that does sound interesting. And plus, we're going to be talking about it anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you had any final thoughts on this topic.
I think it's just it's an ongoing struggle. Ludonarrative dissonance in general is an ongoing struggle.
Ludonarrative, I like that.
Ludonarrative dissonance.
Ludonarrative.
Yeah, it's an ongoing struggle in general. It's the whole, you know, Call of Duty game saying war is hell. Now here's your AK-47. You know, it's a constant.
That would make sense. Yeah,
it's a constant struggle with video games, and it's a problem with the medium. It's like saying, I'm into art, but I hate colors. You know, it's like, oh, that's a problem kind of with the, you know.
But I mean,
I'm into books, but I hate reading. It's like,
But at the same time, when you have something like, just taking that example, Spec Ops: The Line, it literally was that. You got both. It was an action game that completely and utterly explored the horrors of war. But the guys, they didn't want to keep going. They didn't want to do it.
Becomes a plot point.
They were forced to. They were forced into keep on, like basically forced to continue it because of the circumstances. I mean, that to me made that's why I love that game. It made perfect and
you mentioned
sense.
BioShock.
I mentioned BioShock. I mean, BioShock also just made a lot of sense. I mean, it was everything just kind of fit together. I mean, there's games like look at like Alien Isolation. You never you really just get better at avoiding the alien. You never and that like you know that makes sense to me. Like that's the whole point of your character. It's not like you're gonna all of a sudden like unlock Power Fist and like aha.
It's like one of those boxing gloves on a spring. It's like
wow. And like oh this game is so much easier now. I can like I don't know but yeah I do think it's just a general issue in the gaming industry. And I don't know I feel like
I don't think there's a hard and fast solution.
No,
I
there's
think
probably not. There's a lot of gray space here.
Yeah.
And I think it purely depends on the game and the types of player you're building for.
Yeah, I think you have to just know what you like or find out what you like and follow it. Because there are different iterations. It's all we're talking about here, just how many different ways games solve this problem.
Yep.
Of
Some do it well, some do it.
Yeah.
I mean, some do it well, some do it not so well. Some pick the right feature of this for their game. Some don't. I mean, like,
well, this is why I've come to love, one of the reasons why I've come to love roguelikes so much is because it's a game that is very much like, I'm just playing this to, I'm going to die, but I get something from it. I actually get something from my loss. It's not just knowledge of like, oh, that enemy killed me because he's stronger than me. It's like, well, you died, but you've got this amount of money to spend on your next run.
Yeah, no, it's a game that, the whole push of the game is to maximize the distance you can go in the game, and every time you do it, you get a little bit further, and a little bit further, and a little bit further. It's a game of constant reward for effort.
Yes.
That's
it right there.
It's exactly what it is. It's the same reason why we like loot crates. It's the same reason why we always loved catching another Pokemon.
Yes. I'm actually a fan in multiplayer games. I know some people aren't, but I am a huge fan of progression systems where it's like, you know what? Keep playing our game. I don't care if you win or lose. You're going to get experience. If you win, you get more. If you lose, you get less. But guess what? Eventually, you get something for how much you've played the game.
I do like
that's actually interesting because that's such a different way of looking at this whole topic. Is it's like you progress just through the experience of playing these repeated one-off missions.
And I like those too. I mean, but you can look at it once again in two different lights. You can look at it as the Overwatch light of you get them, but they're all cosmetic, zero actual performance impact.
Right.
Or you can look at it like Call of Duty or Battlefield.
You've unlocked a new gun.
You've unlocked a better gun.
Skill, yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's two different things. It's like, but it's almost like a weird backwards thing. Like, why would you award a more advanced player to have a better gun than a guy who's worse than him who has a lesser gun?
The amount of times that you lose the game, the quicker you unlock new weapons. It's like, here, please do something
better.
good.
Like, here's balance. I think that's one of the reasons why people like Overwatch. It's just a straight balanced game. It's like, oh, I have a 9mm. I have a rocket launcher. Pichu!
Right.
I mean, it's like what...
But Overwatch is saying, okay, but the character with the 9mm can go invisible, and the character with the rocket launcher moves at 2 inches per hour.
Yeah, I mean...
So it's like it's...
It's back like when... What was it? I forget which one of the Call of Duties it was, but like as soon as you like unlocked like the P90 or something... It was by far the best weapon because it had the most damage, highest fire rate, and zero recoil compared to a guy who just starts out who has an AK-47 who's like a tenth of all of those things. So
we're going to be talking about Lawbreakers in a little bit, and I noticed immediately, I don't know if you did too, but there was one character type that everyone just kept picking.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was the Wraith type, and I was just like, oh.
I actually had, depending on the game, one class always stood out over the other, but it never was continuous.
That's interesting. I noticed that just people kept picking it, and I thought, okay, they figured out the bastion of this game.
No. More to that to come. So let's put and we'll leave the
a little sticky on that.
Yeah, we'll leave this general topic closed. We'll be interested to hear what everyone else thinks. Drop us a tweet, drop us an email, let us know what you feel like versus this organic versus inorganic advancement.
Yeah, those of you who are either watching us now or listening to us in the future, let us know what you think.
Because we would love to have more opinions that feature into these discussions, and we might actually reopen them if we get a few more. So, going into our last news piece, which, by the way, Tom, in our 3 news pieces, we managed to kill an hour. But
typical.
Yep. Our last news piece is kind of an interesting little take. Total War, or aka Sega, has come out with a big announcement that...
This is all new to me, so...
Instead of making new games, instead of making sequels, they are going to be making... how do they put it? Like, special iterations of already established titles. Like, if you think Rome Total War 2, or... Total War Shogun, Fall of the Samurai, Total War Empire, like games that are in the exact same era, but different.
So they're not going to do new periods of time.
They're just going to take established eras, established games they already have, and they're just going to change it a little bit. They're going to be dashes. They're not going to be like 4, 5, 6. It's going to be Total War Rome 1, 2, Total War Rome 3, 4, 5. It's going to be just kind of iterations on that, or maybe
they're going to say like, here's the latest Total War Shogun. Here's the latest Total War Rome.
Yeah, or we're going to do Total War Rome, but like 100 years sooner, 100 years later. Oh, we're going to take Total War Empire, but we're going to do it in a different part of the country. So they're not actually doing anything new. They're just releasing featured games of stuff they've already developed. And I personally feel that this is another big example of a AAA title squeezing money out of the community, because they basically said that they're not going to be making anything novel from here on out. They're just going to be focusing on building on what they've already have. They're not actually going to make anything new. They're just going to keep on just kind of tweaking. It's going to be like Madden 98, Madden 99, Madden 2000. It's just going to kind of be the same thing.
But even more so, it's going to be like Madden 98 too.
Yeah. And
like, we're going to just use the 98 roster of Madden for years.
And it seems
if I'm understanding this correctly.
Basically, and it seems like, at least from the people that I've read and saw, that the general consensus is the fact that, yeah, the community is not exactly thrilled to hear these news. They saw it's called Total War Saga. It's like, it's going to be a great thing. We're going to release the sagas of all these other stuff that we already have, like Rome and Empire and Shogun, and it's like, but we already have those games. Yeah, we know, but here's going to be a different type of game from that same game. But how about new historical titles? How about new fantasy titles? No. Saga. Haha. Saga, kind of like Sega.
Our earlier pun was contradicted to Loot, but right now I'm feeling conflicted to Loot, because I understand it. I understand where they're coming from by saying like, okay, we've got all our research for Rome. We've got all our, maybe even if they recycle assets, we've got our designs and whatever. And now we're going to put it in this scenario. Now we're going to put it in that scenario. Okay.
But they're going to be charging full price for
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I was going to say. If they're releasing these as $60 titles, it's like,
they're basically releasing different versions of games they already have as full titles, because they're saying, oh, but this isn't Rome. This is Rome
sounds like they're
hyphen barbarians. It's Rome hyphen blank. It's Rome hyphen the Alexander years. I mean, it's like,
it sounds like they're trying to challenge the idea that a lot of games have had lately of like, we're releasing our game as a platform and then just iterating on it. It sounds like they're trying to solve a problem that's not broken, like,
oh, we've got an idea for that. I don't know if it's more cost effective from a business strategy to not reinvent the wheel over and over and over again.
Well,
because there's so
that's
many,
where I understand it.
But there's so many other historical and fictional ways that you could take Total War, and that's why a lot of people are kind of not super happy about this announcement, because there's a lot of errors still untouched by Total War, which would fit fit the system. That would fit.
So they're literally saying they're not going to do that anymore, or at least they're planning.
No, I mean, I guess there's the Total War iterations, which once again is they're building on Total War, but they're not actually revamping it. They're just going Total War.
It's not that this is just a side thing that they're doing, but they're completely stopping the idea. Like, you're not going to see Total War.
This is their main focus for a while, basically, is what it came out to be. This is going to be what they're focusing on for a while. It's not going to be...
That sounds like a studio that's dialing back.
It would be interesting if they said, you know what, we're devoting half of our studio to just be doing like special DLCs for old games and stuff like that. And
right.
I'd be like, you know what? They were good games. People still like them. People still play them.
That's why I'm saying
give me new reasons to play them for $10, $12. But it sounds like these are going to be $60 games based on concepts that have already been there.
But on the other hand, how many World War II games are there? How many Vietnam? How many, there are certain periods of time that it's across developers, it's across franchises. But
this is the only developer that does this. They're literally their own competition. They're their own brand.
Yeah.
They're literally competing with themselves, and they're going, you know what? We're just going to keep on making what we've already made.
Yeah, it's like a weird sort of remaster, but
Yeah,
without
I mean,
without remastering it.
At least that's what it sounded like. So, like I said, I just was wanting to have.
I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not the thing is, I'm not an active Total War player, especially compared to you. So I don't really have it as a huge reference point, but it's an interesting decision.
Yeah, it's just literally that's the best thing. It's a Total War Saga. It's just basically it's a bunch of spin-offs. That's all it really is. New brand strategy games to focus on key historical events, but they're just taking their original historical titles and spinning them off, which is the main thing. Literally, this is what it says. In fact, we've done it before. Like, literally, they're saying we've done it before, and now we're just going to be doing all of it now. Like, that's just going to be our sole focus. So, it's interesting because I would pay $100 for Total War Token versus Total War, like I said,
Rome 5.
Exactly, or Rome Exandria, Rome Julius, or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because it's not even going to be like Rome 5. It's going to be Rome this era, this
exactly.
period,
They're not going to
scenario.
They already have the same soldiers. They have the same foot soldiers. They have the same.
But Total War sounds like they should be doing what already exists, which is what they were doing a little bit with Warhammer. Is like, okay, we're going to release Total War X. Now, over the next 5-10 years, we're going to continue to release packs for it, or scenarios, or whatever you want to call them.
But the interesting thing is...
New races, new scenarios.
Yeah, they've already done a good enough job. They literally covered anyone and their grandmother in the original titles. Like, they couldn't add more factions. They can't add more land. They can't... There's only so much to medieval China. Like, they already released all of it. It's not like you're going to find a brand new faction built in there somewhere. Like it's
interesting because my friend Ocean Floor in chat right now, she just picked up Civ 5, and we were talking about Civ 5 versus Civ 6, and I'm thinking like, because I like Civ 5 a lot. I don't have Civ 6, and I'm saying Civ 5 is great. It's a great game. I'm sure the price is amazing right now. So yeah, get Civ 5, and it's just kind of like, well, what changes with Civ 6? The way it's presented, but besides that, it's just a coat of paint, right? You talk about adding everybody and their grandmother. Maybe they change up who the rulers are, but otherwise it's just, okay, I know what a Civ game is. I know exactly what this game is going to present to me. Sometimes they'll do things like, oh, we've introduced a new system or something, but it's not enough of a change that really ever warrants. Like, if you get one that you like, just stick with it,
Yeah,
I have no reason to. Every time I look at Civ 6, I'm like, it's 5 is fine. 5 does all of this.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was just
tell me that Civ 6 is like Civ 5 only had 5 leaders, but Civ 6 has 25, or whatever. Then I'd say.
So It's an interesting development. It's one that I don't think it's a smart move, especially considering they're already on rocky ground. But it'll be interesting to see how they develop it going forward. But like I said, and I mean, I just want to confirm that it's not like that it is their whole thing. Because the way I read it initially, it made it sound like they were taking their entire development to that instead of novel things.
Yeah, that's what's interesting to me, that they are just completely saying, nope, this is it. This is our jam now.
Yeah, so Hispanic. I don't know. So maybe this article says that it's expanding its portfolio by increasing these things, but the original article I read made it sound like it was just that.
Well, either way, the fact that they're doing it is what's...
I mean, like I said, maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe it does come out to be that they're just like $10, $12 expansions. That's probably fine. But
if that's the case, ignore everything we just said.
This year that it plans to return to historical settings for franchise. So it does seem like, at least in the near future, that's just what they're going to be doing. So it'll be interesting to see to what level they do it. If it's going to be full release, or like fully priced release, or an actual like $10, $12 game. But like I said, if anyone out there besides me is a Total War fan, I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts, because I don't know. I've been kind of like BioWare have been slowly losing interest in Total War. So
yeah, it's a bummer.
It just is what it is. And with that, we will close the Book Sauter news section and move into what we thought was going to be the feature of this podcast, which is our playlist for this week. So we actually have quite a few games that we want to cover that we both, either we both played or we just individually played, and we just.
Oh yeah, we have a couple that we both played. So yeah,
we've. I guess two.
Secret.
Yes, I was going to say. So we want to start out with the one that we talked about the beta for a while, or we talked about the beta was going on, Lawbreakers. We kind of already came up during this podcast, and we just want to take a moment to talk about it because it is kind of who made Lawbreakers again? Was it Ubisoft?
Boss Key Productions, which is Cliff Bleszinski of Gears of War fame.
That's right.
He's sort of a popular figure in video game.
So he made a game called Lawbreakers, and the whole premise of Lawbreakers is that it's very mobile, very vertical combat.
It's a multiplayer first-person shooter.
Lawbreakers meaning they're breaking the law of gravity, the best that I could find out.
Well, it's funny because the two factions are the law and the breakers. So you have like the police enforcers and then the
criminals,
raucous criminal louts.
So the whole point of this game is that it promises fast-paced, vertical combat. So basically,
kinetic, mobile, frenzied,
kind of combat. And do you want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
It doesn't matter, because we're gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I think so. The main thing the reasoning why I was only able to play 2 hours of this beta when it went on for 3-4 days, it's the fact of how unevenly the pace was spread out. I was expecting a game that was going to be full throttle 1,000% of the time. And I was surprised about how slow the slow points were and how fast the fast points were. There wasn't an actual engagement. It was, oh my god, this game is so slow. In a millisecond, you encounter someone and you explode. It's a game about bursting. There's no I'm behind cover, I'm shooting. I'm behind cover, I'm shooting. I'm retreating. I'm getting a medic. I'm shooting again. It's basically do and your paper die respawn. And it just takes forever to get there. There's moments when the verticality is the gravity is turned off, so you're kind of slowly boating. So you're slowly floating in the air, and you're shooting at people, but you're kind of just kind of drifting, and it's
each map. Now this is I guess it's the genre is technically hero shooter. Now that I think about it, and that's stuff like Team Fortress, Overwatch, where you have these specific characters that are also kind of a class. So it's I'm the Titan. I'm the guy with the big gun, and I'm angry, and everything I do, I'm shouting. Or I'm the assassin. I'm the sexy lady with the knives and the shotgun. Ooh, now you see me, now you don't. It's this kind of full of personality stuff. So when I started off, I'm looking at the characters. I'm oh, these designs are awesome. These are really cool looking characters. I'm excited to play as them, even if they, it's like Overwatch. I just want to play as this character because he or she looks cool. And then I started off. What I was going to say is that the maps are these really tiny spaces. These tiny, tiny little spaces. You have your spawn room, a 3-yard hallway, or 3-meter hallway, if you're international. And then all of a sudden there's a middle area to each map where the gravity is a fraction.
Somewhat wonky, yeah.
Yeah, it's off, basically. It's not completely off because you will drop back down, but it's really low. And so you go there and you jump, and I was raised on Quake-like, Doom-like shooters where, fast is fast. You just are, whoa, you're like a freight train at all times. And like you were talking about, when you get into gunplay, it's this okay, I've died. This is you come out of the spawn room and you're just that's sprinting. And then you go into the low gravity area, and I thought, oh, this should be good. And you jump, and it's just I'm okay. And you can spin the camera around at your own convenience or whatever. I'm just I'm kind of just sort of floating up here. And exactly like you said, one shot or a quick burst, and you're dead. I'm a DPS guy. I like that, but not when everyone does it.
Yeah, the tank.
I like it when it's DPS. Oh, I'm really squishy. I can't get hit, but I can hit really fast and hard.
no matter what class, it seemed like any one class could burst down any person real quick. The tank felt super weak to me. The DPS classes felt weak to me in the sense of like they felt like low DPS compared to anyone else, which is weird. Like it took
it wasn't
me
like crit
5
based.
or 6.
It was just
It took me 3 or 4 games to not be the bottom person because I was just like, how does this game even work? And then it got to the point where it literally was. I finally got to the point where I got decent with the assassin. Her mobility is a grappling hook. Everyone has their own version of mobility.
Yeah, the grappling hook's kind of cool.
Some phase out, some turn into a freaking airplane, some teleport. It's weird. And she has a little grappling hook that she uses to jump around, but I figured out that you can grappling hook onto someone, and then you instantly pull into that person, and then you can cause them with their blades.
Because she has a shotgun, too, as her
She has multiple things, but at the same time, like even that is like, you would think, oh, I hooked him, basically. I pull myself into him. I should have, like, an instant hit. No! It's like, you pull yourself into him, and people are still just moving at full speed. You're like, this doesn't make sense. Like, I can't get close enough to, like, slice him. The person that you were talking about that almost everyone played with, the Wraith, his whole movement system was that he was, like, the pilot. He had a power slide where you could be, like, 1 inch off the ground and shooting with no impact. And it seemed like you could not counter him because if he power slid around a corner, you couldn't like aim at him quick enough. So
it just seemed like everyone was stacking this character,
and it just like even a team engagement didn't last longer than a couple of seconds because someone exploded or multiple people exploded almost initially. I honestly could not see a target audience for this game that actually would enjoy it.
Well, it's really weird because I think of Cliff Bleszinski. I think of his kind of stuff, and I think of Gears of War. Big meat man shooters. Those are cover based, and there's a kind of fun challenge in that where it's this sense of like run. Oh God, get behind something, and then it's like, do I shoot over? Do I dare duck up and try and shoot? That's fun. I like that. And his audience is kind of like the guys who draw, big chunky superheroes on the back of their math book covers. I just think of those like it goes online as like XX Toxic Wraith 9XX. These kind of like edgelord guys. I don't know. Maybe I'm super kind of stereotyping, but that's just like the Gears audience for me. And so I thought that this might be catering to that, and it's not. It's sci-fi. It's actually, I'll tell you one thing, the game is silky. Like,
oh yeah, it's smooth. It operates really well.
Yeah, it's wonderful to look at. It's really, actually, it does feel good to control, but it's just so slow.
It's too unbalanced. It's too imbalanced for me. Some of the abilities seem like they're better. They're far better than others. The ultimate abilities are either incredible or pointless.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Some of the classes just seem like, why is this even an option? Because most people don't play them or try it once ago. I can see why
I saw no use for the medic characters ever.
Surprisingly, in some of my games, the medic was by far the highest DPSer.
Really?
Yeah, because the person...
I guess I don't see a use for a medic because no one...
Yeah, there's no point for an actual medic. There's been like twice where I actually got out of an engagement with some health left.
Right.
That someone actually healed me up.
There was no say like Reinhardt or Roadhog character like from Overwatch where they have this massive health bar that basically when you see the character it's just like, oh my God, I'm either going to shoot or run, but either way I'm trying to get away from it. I'm not going to kill him. I'm just going to try and survive this interaction.
In this game, the largest health character could still go down within a couple seconds. Like he moved super slow. He didn't feel like he was his damage compensated for his immobility. He was just a giant target.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel bad. I didn't like it. I only played actually for like an hour. I'm surprised you played for 2.
I might have played for 2. I might have been just guesstimating. But
I did have some trouble, although this doesn't color my review of it. I did have some trouble getting the matchmaking like going.
Yeah, and I tried a day or 2 after you, so I don't know if it fixed itself or what, or maybe just less people were playing it.
Because I certainly am willing to chalk all that stuff up. Like, it's a beta weekend. The game's not even out yet. Of course, there's going to be issues. But
yeah, like I said, I played it a couple of days after, so I don't know if it was different, if there was like less people on, or who knows what. There was a loot system. There was a reward system for playing. I don't believe that anything actually changed. It was just all cosmetic.
It looked like it was cosmetic. Like, you get, like, basically it has the equivalent of, like, stickers.
Skins. Yeah, you have gun skins. You have cosmetic skins. But yeah, nothing actually seemed like it was actually advancement of abilities or anything else like that.
I mean, to be fair, they're releasing the game for $29. It's not a full $60 thing. But even if this was free, I don't know if I would play it.
Yeah, I guess my main
we
thing
may
is,
just not be the target audience.
Well, here's my thing. The benefit to this game is, like we said, I think there's a lot of potential here, but they really need to even it out. Like, I think this game could be good. Like, I think this game could actually be a decently successful multiplayer game if they were able to, quicken up the slow moments, slow down the fast moments, and retool some of the characters. They have a very good idea here. They have a very good system.
Yeah.
It obviously works. It doesn't need that much upkeep. It's just right now, in its current state, I could not recommend this game.
Right. If you're looking for a competitive hero shooter and you don't like, for some reason, you don't like Overwatch, or you don't like maybe Overwatch is too cartoony for you. Maybe that's a legitimate put off. You could say, I don't like the art, or something like that. This is doing a similar thing, but Overwatch cannot be discounted for actually how good it is at what it does.
Yeah, this game doesn't even hold a candle to Overwatch. I don't think there's really not a game out there that I think could follow suit unless you're a TF2
And I do mean that in terms of the balance of the
it's
gunplay or weapon play.
I mean, Overwatch is still by far the current multiplayer king. I don't see it being dethroned anytime too soon. So,
if you want a good sci-fi multiplayer shooter, get Titanfall 2.
Titanfall 2 is a great one. Titanfall 2 is also super quick with the piloting.
That's the thing. I was expecting that level of speed even. The Titanfall 2 pilots are sippy, and that's talk about gravity defying.
And you brought up a good point. Maybe the issue with this game was the maps were too small, because the reason why the pilot is that quick is because he can be. The maps are so huge that being that quick is reasonable. In this, if he was that quick on the map sizes, you'd hit the back wall and go, wait, where is the map? In your
first move, you'd hit the back wall.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I think maybe that was an issue. Who knows what? But yeah, this game has some mechanical issues.
I think you said in chat, you said something like, this is like Counter-Strike's like single shot or something like that. Like, where
it's like Quake.
When you have
Quake single shot.
Yeah, well, it's like one shot, one kill kind of mode.
Yeah.
Which is a mode in games like that where it's like, oh, okay, one shot is gonna you only have,
it's like the uber competitive
1 HP
mode where everyone only has one shot, and it's just wacky because every single person just explodes every time someone breathes on them. You
play that as a break between the actual game. This is like a game that's almost based on that.
Yeah, it just seems like even the capture the flag moments seemed pointless to me because no one was actually able to the first team who captured whatever the battery was. No one could ever get it back because you literally would sit there, look at the one door. If you somewhat came through the door, you just get bursted down.
Yep.
Like, there was no physical way. Like, there was one time I actually got into the room by myself. I was disarming or doing whatever for like a millisecond, and then the reinforcements came and it wasn't even like I could just grab it and run. You had to. That's the thing. Like, if this game was just like you ran by it, you picked it up, it probably would work. But this is the type of game where you physically have to sit there and like watch a bar tick by. In this game, you can't do that. It's just not made for it. It's literally just going to be, you better have your team with you or you're screwed. And I was.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the thing about like I'm sorry to keep comparing it to Overwatch, but Overwatch, like when you're taking a point, truthfully, you take points really quickly, but what you run into is that there's always someone there, and it's like, oh, you can't completely capture it until you clear all the enemies off, and it's like, so you can always play this great game with Overwatch where it's like, as long as we keep someone on the point, they can't take it. As long as we just keep someone out there. So you get these like Tracers and Genjis that are like zipping out there, and it's like I won't live, but the next person will come in before I die,
and maybe we'll get something out of this. But
yeah, exactly
how this works.
The speed was everything to me. That killed this for me. Yeah. If it ran at, I guess, the advertised or my impression of how I thought it should be going, which when it's saying, fast, frenzied, gravity-defying combat, I'm thinking Quake, I'm thinking Doom, I'm thinking, that kind of stuff. This was and it wasn't like they were slow, like they were clunking along, like Titanfall mechs, they clunk along, but at least you feel, well, I'm in a big slow thing. Of course I'm going to move this slow. This was just like, it's like that weird...
If I wasn't using my movement ability, I felt slow.
Yeah, if I wasn't sprinting, it was like, what am I, standing still?
Well, if you weren't power sliding, if you weren't teleporting,
exactly,
if you weren't phasing, if you weren't like in your like airplane mode, like they just felt like you were just like, there's no point of this character anymore. It's just like, I'm slow.
Maybe I would have gotten used to it after 3-4 hours of playing it, but it didn't feel like
I started to get to the point where I was like second. I think I finished first once in a match, and after that, I'm like, I'm just not even like. It's not even enjoyable, even though I'm killing people.
Right.
So, like I said, so,
Sorry,
that's kind of our take.
Didn't really dig.
2 contradicted dilute thumbs down.
2 contradicted to loot.
Thumbs down. Do you want to move on to Secret?
Yeah, let's talk, because we have both been playing that.
So, Tommy talked about Secret World Legends last week on the stream. Based on his impressions of it, I downloaded it and gave it a shot because I'm always a sucker for an MMO.
Secret World Legends is an MMO with a heavy kind of story basis. I don't know, how would you describe it?
It's an MMO that's, I would say, is probably one of the few MMOs, or maybe the only MMO that focuses on like psychological thriller versus it's kind of, it's not horror in the sense that it's going to be jump scare, but it's psychological in the sense of you see some shit.
Yeah,
and it plays with your characters' minds. Like, you're going.
The premise is that every conspiracy theory is real. So Lovecraftian stuff, Templars, and
zombies, and it's
ancient occult stuff all exists for real.
Yeah, so it seems like the vast majority of stuff is like supernatural in sense, not mythological, but supernatural.
Supernatural is a great word for it. Yeah,
vampire, all that stuff. So it's very dark, very gloomy. Like. Your nightmares are haunted. Stuff comes out of the ground. Things appear out of nowhere, kind of thing. So it's like I said, it's not horror because you're never gonna have a jump scare in a cutscene, but it's psychological. It's like it's a very dark MMO in terms of its environment and its setting.
It's not oppressively dark, like I think of like the Metro games and stuff like that, where it's like, this is like. Closing in on me. It's fun.
Definitely. It's a very interesting game, and it portrays it in a sense that's really, really well done, but that's the way it is. You're supposed to be a person who somehow gets chosen or has an ability that's able to deal with these creatures, that's able to deal with the drama of the fact that you're fighting a supernatural
You're part of the
battle.
Secret World Club.
Yeah, because also the premise is the world doesn't know that any of this stuff's going on. You're a part of an organization that's fighting this, like, behind the scenes. That's like, there's just normal people on the streets. It's like, I'm so glad there's no zombies around, and you're like you're in an alley, like, die! But, so, like, that's kind of an interesting premise.
It's split into 3 factions who are part of this kind of overall peacekeeping force.
Yeah.
This is where I'm really like into the game a lot, is these 3 different factions.
3 factions, yeah. So we did both choose a different faction. We each both choose a different We each chose a different faction. We each chose a different character, class, I should say. And like I said, my overall impression of the game was I really liked it. It's a better than average MMO, a better than average free MMO, I'll say.
Yes, it's completely free.
Completely free. My main thing with it is that the freemium aspect of it gets in its own way occasionally. The lack of freedom of choice, kind of like in SWTOR, is not there. That's something that's majorly lacking. It's still a good story, but you can't customize your story.
Right, you are definitely on the rails.
You're definitely on the rails, which isn't a negative thing. It's just it's not a positive. It's not a negative. Sure. It's just that's the way it is.
That's exactly. That's how I describe it too. It's like it doesn't do it any harm, but it's also not like Star Wars: The Old Republic. It's like, wow, I'm crafting my own version of this.
For me, the only things that stand out about this game compared to anything else that just doesn't make it #MMO is the mood, the story, and the universe, like the planet you're on, which is really, really, really good.
The whole atmosphere.
The whole atmosphere is great.
10 out of 10.
And the only other thing that would then differentiate this game is its boss-based combat, which isn't super differentiating, but it's better than most because it's mob fighting. You click, you do abilities, people die.
I will say though that the fighting, the combat is it's not like tab combat, I think is what they call it. It's free, like an action RPG. You are swinging your sword.
I don't know because my character is basically I basically click the left mouse button to shoot, and I just sat there click. I didn't aim, I didn't do anything. I just clicked, and it automatically just shot.
What did you choose? The gunslinger? The assassin is the one that I chose, and her skill set is basically like a katana sword kind of setup, or magic, and the magic is auto targeting. Although there is a degree of like, okay, if I shoot slightly to the left of the guy, the magic swings around and hits him. But the sword, I had to aim. I had to definitely be looking at the guy or in the area.
At least the gunslinger, if I had someone highlighted, I could be shooting at my feet and it'd still hit him.
Oh,
like there was.
Okay, that's really different.
It literally was just like instead of
with the magic, if I shot at my feet, then it goes at the feet.
No, I literally, as long as he's highlighted, I'm shooting at him because
that's interesting.
Because because there's some games where you go click standard attack and the character will just nonstop attack until one of you dies.
That's your usual MMO thing.
In this game, that was how this character plays, but I had to physically click every time he attacked. Like instead of go into auto attack mode and I'll just sit here and trigger the abilities when they happen. Like WoW, it was basically click, 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 until everyone died. Like
I think if I'm not mistaken, because truthfully, the game was The Secret World when it first released years ago, and it's been rebranded as Secret World Legends for this free re-release of it. And I think one of the big things that they changed was the combat, where it was all tab based, like you were saying, click, okay, auto attack, guy's dead, click, auto attack. And so probably like it's easy to convert some things like the swordplay or the magic, but maybe a gun, maybe there's a whole kind of modeling of projectiles. I don't know.
Who knows what?
Yeah, exactly. But that they couldn't say, okay, we can't do targeting, so instead we're just going to emulate it by saying you select the guy and click to shoot.
Maybe.
That's my guess. That's a complete shot in the dark. I have no clue.
And I will caveat what I just said with this. It doesn't hurt my opinion of the game. It hurts my opinion of the character class. Basically, I would withhold final judgment on this game until I tried a different character class. Because I do believe I like this game. I want to play more of this game.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to play more of this character class. Because the character class, at least right now, is super boring. I don't know if he gets better as he advances. It's super boring. And I hate the shotgun system. I've been
having a lot of fun with the
shotgun system in this game sucks.
Really?
Here's the shotgun system. The shotgun system is, like, my guy's second ability is shotgun. So you have a primary and a secondary. The secondary is kind of like a feature fluff to your character that can be...
Right, that's the magic for mine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for a shotgun, it's basically like, my gunslinger, it's like his 2 pistols are like AoE damage. I click the button and I literally hit up to 6 people every attack, which is another reason why my character class sucks, because it's super boring. But...
So it's like a burst, but it's like, we'll find 6 guys.
Because it's like, bang, and then it bounces. Bang, and then it bounces. Like, it's weird. Like he's doing like the Matrix Neo and like shooting everyone with 1 bullet and like, but anyway, the shotgun system works. You have X amount of ammo and you shoot. You click and you shoot, like you target lock onto someone, you don't aim. You target lock onto someone, you just click the button, and he shoots. And if you don't run out of your clip, it just automatically reloads eventually. Sure. But here's the thing. There's 4 different types of ammo. In order to get to those 4 different types of ammo, you have to empty your freaking clip. So if I kill a character in one shot, I cannot swap my ammo out, which blows because
it's encouraging you to like.
Because there's damage over time ammo, there's there's burning ammo, there's healing ammo, there's like high impact with no armor ammo. There's four, like I said, there's 4 different types. They all have very different scenarios to use them in. Mm-hmm. So in order to do it, I have to be fighting a boss. I have to run out of all my ammo, and I have to run out of all my ammo in a timely manner that will allow me to push a button that simulates which ammo I want next in it, because otherwise it just chooses for me. It's almost like...
It sounds like you got a bum class, because that definitely... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That sounds annoying. I would have been annoyed.
I want to replay it, and I want to try a different class just to see what happens.
I really like the Assassin. The magic system is really cool, because there are different types of magic, and the one that I have is like... I
almost went with the straight magic class, the Elementalist or whatever. Like,
Elementalist.
His primary is magic, his secondary is magic. It literally almost went for him, but I changed my mind.
I actually... Part of what was appealing about the Assassin is I chose the dragon storyline, which is very, Asian influence. So I thought, okay, this will be cool. I'll be, this cool katana wielding magic assassin. This will be really fun. I also really love, because the game takes place in modern day, I always love the idea of modern day person, like, t-shirt or leather jacket, but with the power of lightning or the power of fire. That's always such a cool image, I think. And so I get to play that. And also the system, as I have come to unlock it, is really interesting because it's what do you want to call it? Thermodynamic. Because if you cast fire, you have a heat meter for magic. If you cast fire spells, your heat meter goes up, and eventually, you can overheat, and it's just like you can't cast any magic till you cool down. However, if you cast fire spells and then cast like an ice spell, your heat goes down. So it encourages you. Yeah. It encourages you to be like, not just spamming fireball, but it's like fireball, and then I have like an ice AoE. So I'll just have this stuff where it's like, I'm going to cast fire, I'm keeping kind of an eye on that meter, and then you just like, and everything chills out, and it's like, yeah, I'm back to fire again. So
that is kind of cool. Creative. Like I said, that sounds far better than what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It could just be
the sword.
Slingers is not great.
The sword has something kind of like what you're talking about, in the sense that as I build up attacks, as I do consecutive attacks, eventually, it's like there's a 1 in whatever chance that I'll add on this bar. And eventually, when I get 5 of this bar full, I can supercharge my sword for a brief period of time. But the window is very small. So it's not just like, okay, attack. Yeah, supercharge. It's literally like, attack. There it is, supercharge now. And I almost feel like an anime thing, like, supercharge, go! And then you just have this crazy, your sword is glowing. The Assassin's really fun. I like that class a lot.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to try it again with a different character class before I give like a final verdict on it.
What do you feel about your faction that you chose? Because you did the Illuminati.
Yes, I like my faction a lot. I think it's pretty cool. I would probably like to replay just to see how it progresses, but I do like the Illuminati. And I'm assuming
they're like the tech hackers, information brokers.
No, they're basically the people that are like, they drive the old the souped up sports car to the business meeting with their hair slicked back, with the shades on, even though it's like 2 p.m.
Bunch of G-men, yeah.
Or like it's like 7 o'clock at night. They're in a boardroom with their sunglasses, with giant aviators on, and they're like, we're the people. Like, there's never a deal that we're not a part of. We're like, they're basically like sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Woo! Like that's really the Illuminati, and
hackers kind of stuff.
They're not even hackers. They
like the film, like hackers kind of.
Oh yeah, like they literally just
cinema hackers.
Their whole point is that they basically like we make the rules and we don't play by them, and
that's hilarious.
You want money, we have money. You want women, we have women. Like they're literally like the high rollers of like the supernatural world. And
I talked a little bit about the dragon last week, but it's really cool because their concept is they're completely based on using chaos to glean information.
Yeah.
So it's like I mentioned this last week. One of the people talks to you, and they said people think that we're terrorists. Some people say that we're terrorists, but what we're doing is we're introducing randomness to the world so we can get a better model of how the world works. It's like, okay, here's a stable situation. Let's introduce this element, and you're that element. You're the randomness being introduced. I thought that's really cool. There's some high concept stuff at work that I really like.
Yeah, I chose the Illuminati because it's not it would not. It's the way that I would never normally go, which is why I chose it.
Yeah, I would have thought you'd do the Templars.
Templar. I'm 100% like, oh, my standard class would be the Templar. My standard faction would be a Templar. I'm always like lawfully good characters. Almost like,
right, they're like the
it.
defenders of the world. Basically.
I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna make a young hip punk teen who just wants to be like, dude, yeah, I want a convertible. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, let's do this shit. Yeah, let's come on. But like,
tight.
And I mean, it's pretty cool. Like, it's fun because like you just feel spoiled because it's like they have like the best digs. Like everything is super polished. It's just like, okay, where's the espresso machine? Yeah, here it is. Like,
I like the idea of the Illuminati. Before we go on to one of the freemium features is that you only get one character. Yeah, you have to dump that character if you're going to start another one.
Which I'm not 100%. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
Like, come on.
I really like my character a lot, and I'm very happy with the dragon. But it was between the dragon and the Illuminati. I thought, they seem, because of exactly what you're describing, I thought, they sound fun. But the dragon is really cool. It's so, and that's what they're called, the dragon, and it's really cool. It's giving me Sleeping Dogs vibes. Definitely more on the supernatural side, but it's giving me that kind, because your home base is in Seoul. You know, it's in South Korea, and it's the game is like using cliches in the absolute best way. It's just every interaction is cliche after cliche after cliche with a big old wink each time. You know, It's like, again, the first big main area is Kingsmith, which is Stephen King meets Lovecraft's Innsmouth. You know, it's just, okay, hey, you know, and the bookstore is called King's Bookstore, and the art store is HP Arts and Crafts. It's like, hey, get that? And so I love it because they're having fun with it. It seems like the game is made by people who are having fun making the game.
No, I agree.
That's huge.
So yeah, I'd want to close out on this one saying, anyone out there who's an MMO fan who's just looking for a new free MMO just to break the monotony, I would say this is a great game for it, because it is definitely different. It's not going to be like anything you've played. I don't think it's going to be like a mold breaker. I don't think it's like the best of the best. I would still put SWTOR over most games. Yeah. So, but it's a good change of pace MMO.
Yeah, I'm having an absolute blast playing it. It is really fun, and that's just so important sometimes. You know, it's not like doing anything that's made. It could. The story seems like it has the potential to do something that could be mind-blowing, you know. But so far, it's just enjoyable, and I'm having a good time with it.
So with that, I'm going to go into my playlist real quick and then try to speed this up so we don't go too far over our allotted time.
It's got to be one of those famous 2.5 hour Addicted to Loot.
Yeah. So the next game, or I guess the first game that I just played, which was a game that I bought on the Steam Summer Sale. I actually bought 4 games total. I'm going to be talking about 2 of them today, just because those are the 2 I got to play. I actually want to play the other 2, but just not yet. So, the first game I played is Man of War Corsair. This is the Warhammer Fantasy meets Black Flag game. This is the game where it is, you play a Warhammer Fantasy faction on a, you know, old pirate galley or something like that. And it's just like, it's cannon and ship combat. Like that's like.
But is it a canon Warhammer game? That's canon with one N.
Time to pun is...
Oh, boy.
So, I played a little bit of this game. I didn't play as much as I actually wanted to. I'm still going to play more of it. Now, here's some of my takeaways. They advertise this game as, you know, you can play Empire, Dwarves, Elves, Chaos, so on, so on, so on, so on, Orcs, Greenskins, whatever. So they have all these different factions. You can only do the story mode as 3, but you actually can only technically do the story mode as 2 until you complete something. Then you get the third guy, which is basically just a repaint of one of the other 2 that you started with.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, well, that's fine if there was okay. But the whole point
are they unique stories? The 2 prime ones.
But the whole point of this game is that you get to sail around the map doing just like trading and all this other stuff. It's kind of like an open world sailing sim as different factions.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is great, but it's a sailing sim, so you're like, oh, I get to do it as all different types of factions. But there's not there's not even like a sail. There's not even like a free sail mode. It's not like sandbox mode. It's basically campaign or single battle mode. Single battle is like, I'm a dwarf, I have this many ships, you're an orc, you have these many ships, fight.
Oh,
it's not.
So it's more a strategy game then.
Not even. It's just like, I want to put a ship against another ship. Hooray! Multiplayer. But it's not like I can be like, I want to be a dwarf that starts out with a small ship and works my way up to a bigger ship. I can't do that. It's like, I can only do the 2 story missions, like the 2 story timelines. Like, I can't. That's the problem here, because there's so many different types of ships.
Coming fresh off of playing a lot of and still enjoying Starpoint Gemini Warlords. That sounds like a bummer.
Yeah, it's the thing,
because
really
Warlords does that in space, you know.
Yeah, I wanted to play the story mode with any faction, which I don't get, which is unfortunate because the game itself has a lot of upside. The main downside, I would say, is the actual hack and slash part of it, like when you board a ship or when someone boards you. Needs a lot of work. It's not that great. Like, you can literally just smash X and get through it. Like, there's a block mechanic and stuff like that. Hardly ever need it. You hit someone, they ghost through like a cannon. Like, it's not like there's like little things like that. It's so weird because is
this still on early access or is this
No, it's a full release game. At least I thought it was. That's the thing. It's like there's little things. Let's just double check. Yeah, it's past 1.0, so it's a full release game. So that's the thing. It's like little things like that. It's like I want to like this game, but when I literally see as part of the prologue, someone I hit just go like whoa. And go goes through the cannon and then like come back at me. I'm like, really? Like,
was this made by Creative Assembly?
No, I think it was made by somebody else.
Or not Creative Assembly. Who does Warhammer? No. Games Workshop. Right? Do they do Warhammer?
It's Creative Assembly.
Is it it's Creative Assembly?
Yeah, it's Creative Assembly.
Oh yeah. Games Workshop. Creative Assembly does the Total War one.
What? No, you're right. Yeah, no, you're 1,000% right.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so Games Workshop, but like an indie studio bought the Warhammer IP from Games Workshop in order to make this game. Is basically how it worked out. But it's just not there. It's just that's the problem. Like, I would, even for the Steam sale price, this game isn't worth it. This game might be worth it either A, if they let out a really big patch to fix all these little issues, or 2 or 3 Steam sales from now when it's less than $10, probably less than $5.
Oof.
That's the problem. Like, it's definitely a sub $10 game with upside. It's just they have cool mechanics, like the different races and the different ships have different abilities. Like the orcs have like a giant, like they have like a tractor beam, but for a ship. It's just like a giant claw that shoots out the front, grabs you, and pulls you in.
Yeah.
Because the orcs specialize in hand-to-hand combat, so you need to get in quicker. So like they have an ability that
just over here.
Basically, yeah. So there's like cool little things here, and they do it all well. And each ship looks unique. They have their own different
remember
flavor.
You talking about this like a month or 2 ago, and just being
like,
whoa, this looks great.
And there's aspects to the fact that you can go into port and buy like a different officer or a captain or a crewman. But then like you're walking through port, and it's just like you're walking through port, and then it's like, oh look, a table. I can just walk over the table.
That reminds me of. Do you remember Driver 3?
Oh, yeah, I remember some of the Driver games, but like,
I know Alec had Driver 3, and there's a reason that it was called Driver and not Walker, because as soon as you got out of the car, it was like, and you jump and it'd be like, ah.
That's the problem. Like this game is just so glaringly unfinished. If this was early access, I'd be like, you know what? Okay, they're still working on it. It's okay.
Sure.
But it's just like this game has no reason to be called a 1.0 game. Like
more like Man of Bor Corsair.
Well, yeah, literally. But like,
well, there's a bunch of pirate games coming out, and E3 was
probably going to be far better. But there's a reason why. I mean, overall, it's still mostly positive, but the recent is mixed. And I actually am far more on the mixed side because the game on the surface sells better than what actually is there, which is unfortunate. I'm still gonna play more of it. I still want to get much farther into the game because, like I said, I like Warhammer. I like sailing.
It says a lot that you still want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to play it because there's upside here. It's just there's just so many moments where you just go, really, you couldn't not put like a wall there. Come on, dude. Seriously, that just little things like that. But so Man of War.
Well, who knows? Maybe there's a perfect or a better iteration of the game.
Maybe. I'm hoping that there's going to be like a 2.0 that comes around and fixes everything, but maybe.
Sure.
So like I said, still more to come. I'm not ready to put a final review on that just yet.
Nor are you going to refund it, sounds like.
No, I'm still going to play it. I think it's worth playing, at least for me. There's enough there that I want to keep playing it to get a final review of it. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely.
My final game that I've been playing is called Keeper RL.
I am interested in hearing about this.
I talked about Keeper RL a long time ago. It's a really small indie game that it's mixture of a dungeon keeper and roguelike. So it's Keeper RL.
Keeper RL. I got it.
Yeah, so it's a dungeon management game that features permadeath. So you build a dungeon, you level it up, you put new things into it, you recruit an army, you basically raid and pillage, and then you also have to defend your base. So you have to put in traps, you have to put in corridors, you have to put in all these different things. You got to advance your
sort of a little tower defense kind of thing.
Not even like you just have to you put in traps, you put in different things, you recruit a bigger army so that if someone comes in, you can just kill them. Like you put in like killing spaces and killing fields. You put in like torture rooms and stuff like that. So it's like
it's funny because games like this remind me of games that used to actually be a lot on like Newgrounds years ago. You know, these kind of incremental upgrade games.
Yeah, and so you go from there, and then you can take your army, you can travel to lesser villains, major villains. You can basically take out these other people. You can get better loot. You can get better gold. And you can just like slowly work about trying to basically complete your map, and your keeper levels up, and you get bigger and bigger and bigger, and so on and so on, until you either die or just keep playing. There's two modes. There's the dungeon keeper mode, which is basically that mode. There's an adventurer mode, which is basically you play a single guy, no dungeon, no nothing, and you just have to survive. You have to know who to attack. You have to know who to hit. You have to know which equipment to grab, and so on and so forth. So, like,
I like that.
It's a far harder mode, but people just do it just to see. Like, it's just a different type of mode. So you basically the shoes on the other foot kind of thing. But Keeper RL, I bought it because it was on the Steam sale, and it was a little bit cheaper than what it normally is. It wasn't like it was a $5 game. I wish it would have been just because. But this game, even for what I paid for it, it's still good. It's still a good game. This game, it should be said, this game is still definitely in alpha. It is in alpha 22. It's still not technically a fully released game yet.
I know it's been around for a couple.
Yeah, and they keep on adding more and more content to it. So there's a lot more. Even I played 3 hours of it already, and you would think for like a roguelike that should be like, oh, you've experienced everything. Like you've died once or twice, you've just seen it all. And I restarted once with a dungeon that was it was on its way out. I think I did it once. There's still more to figure out. There's still more to see. There's different types of enemies to see. There's still some portions of my base to see. There's still some minions that I haven't got yet that I can still try out. So there's still more content there. And it's enough content that I figured by the time they finally do get everything they want into this game, it should be a really fun game. I think it needs a lot more content to warrant the price it currently has. But if you're going to basically be hedging your bets on an early access title that it will eventually get there, I think you'll be well rewarded. I did record 3 videos for this.
Cool.
For this game, it's kind of like a little mini series. I just haven't gotten the chance to upload them to YouTube, but they're already rendered. I just physically have to upload them, so you will be able to see kind of my experience with the game thus far, and kind of get your own opinion of it as well. But overall, I would say if you are looking for a dungeon management sim or a roguelike that's not a roguelike, I would say I would recommend it to you. It's a pretty good game. I love the style of it. I love the artwork of it. I love the...
it's got kind of a retro look,
very much retro, yeah. Like everything is a single like square, and the guy doesn't move. He doesn't animate. Just kind of like hops along, things like that. It's a really good game. Like I really do think it's a really good little indie title, and I actually would, like I said, I would recommend it to a good amount of people. So I actually think it's a fun game. I'm gonna keep playing it for a little while. If people want to see more after my 3rd video, please let me know. I'll keep playing it just to max it out, kind of thing. But I did the 3 videos. I think that's good enough for now, unless there's interest for me to keep going. But
sure, cool. I'm looking forward to seeing them because this is a game that
it's been on my wish list for a while.
Caught my interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it me?
It is you.
It's me. So as some people might know, I won a copy of Everspace on Twitter randomly.
Yes, randomly, you bastard.
It's really good. I like it a lot. Everspace is it is he.
It is
Everspace is a we like our roguelikes here at Addicted to Loot. It is a roguelike space dogfighting game. So it's got the I'm in the cockpit of a ship, flying around doing those kinds of things, but it has roguelike mechanics, which means that when you die, death is not the end. You've got now experience, you've got points, you've got money to increase things. What's really cool is that you can increase both your ship and yourself. So if you've got there's 3 different types of ships. There's a small ship, a medium ship. I want to reiterate this now that you've come back. One thing that's cool is when you increase stuff after you die, it's not just you, but also your ship. So you have 2 different things that you're increasing. That's so you have a small ship, a medium ship, and a well, it's like you have your average ship, and then you have a small ship that you can buy that's, obviously it's lighter weight, but it's faster. And then you have a heavy ship, which is slower and has no shields, but, can take more base damage. I'm sticking with the middle ship right now, just because it's a lot of money to buy other ships, but also it seems like it's a good ship to have. But you gain experience as you progress through. It's set up very much like FTL. You progress through a galaxy. You literally have like a point A, point B, point C, end of this galaxy. Point A, point B, point C, point D, end of this galaxy kind of stuff. And so you basically, you go until you die, you get little bits of story, and very quickly you find out, I'm eager to find out more. You find out that you're a clone, and I'm guessing that they're going to have it be that like every time you're coming back, you're a clone of yourself. So I thought, oh, that's cool. Going back to what I didn't want to talk about it yet, but what we were talking about earlier, how you get experience through the narrative. This makes sense that, well, I've gotten this far, so now I have knowledge. And the next time I regenerate, the next me that comes out. Yeah. And one of the perks that you unlock literally is, it says like, find your previous clone's old ship and salvage it. So you get on the map a little icon that'll say, hey, this is where you died last time. Granted, it's not exactly where you died because it regenerates a galaxy each time, but it's like the same level of where you were before,
the equivalent spot kind of
thing. Yeah, exactly. The upgrade system is interesting. I've never really seen this before. You don't necessarily instantly upgrade something. You have interval upgrades, like if it's like get X amount more HP. Sometimes it'll be like you have to do that sort of like you're building up like 4 tiers of that before you actually get the next level of HP. So sometimes you die and you've got your XP to spend and you can put it in, but not get an upgrade, which feels a little, you kind of are like, oh, okay, was it worth it? You move closer to your upgrade, but you don't have anything quite yet that you're bringing to the table. But that's sort of a nitpicky thing. It's not that bad. The gunplay is great. The ship combat is very simple in a good way. Like, I mean that as a full compliment. It's just, the ship's feels very easy to control. It controls, I don't know the word for it, but it's, you can actually go up and down and left and right as well as, going through space.
So you can pitch and strafe.
You have your pitching, but yeah, you have also strafing in all directions. So you can literally be like going forward and up. You're moving your ship up, and it opens up some really cool kind of like 6-axis feel of combat.
Now, does it feature an inertia system? Like if you're going
a little bit, yeah. So you can be going forward and spin around. You're kind of still going back a little bit, which is cool. I love that when games do that. There's a degree of like, I think if you kick around in an area, what happens is when you get to an area, you have a ship AI that's kind of always talking with you, and that's where you're getting a little bit of story each time.
Is it named Hal?
It's very similar. It's a nice, polite English gentleman, so it's got that kind of vibe that's a little creepy.
Hello, sir. Would you fly into the sun?
It's like, would you kindly fly into the sun? When you warp into a new area, it doesn't take too long, and he opens a jump gate. And so what that is you've got this kind of area of space, literally the space of space, where there's maybe it could be completely peaceful. Maybe there's some mineable nodes. Maybe there's a bunch of enemies here. Maybe there's enemies fighting with other guys. Maybe it's 2 enemy factions or an allied faction and an enemy faction. Or maybe it's just, hey, there's a mining corp that's set up here. You could, if you felt bold, attack their, ships and whatever, but then their sentries will turn on you. And it gives you sort of a little area of stuff to do. And either when you've just completely cleared it out or when you feel like you're done, you center in on this warp gate area, just put it in the center of your screen and you'll warp to the next zone. So it's kind of just gives you a little chunk of space. If you stick around in an area too long, eventually high-powered enemies will start to warp in, so it encourages you to be like, all right, do what you want, but, eventually you got to get out of here.
Wink, wink,
and it will give you a warning, which is cool. They'll tell you, like, hey, now's the time to start, like, thinking about finishing up whatever you're doing here and getting out. So it keeps you constantly moving. It's interesting because it has a Zen kind of feel to it. It's that, like Starpoint Gemini Warlords, where it's like, oh, this is cool, especially if you warp into an area where it's just you and like a couple of mining drones. You're like, oh, I'll just fly in through some asteroids. Oh, there's some material here, and you just mine by shooting stuff. So it's boo, 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 boo. Yeah, I got some stuff. Boo, boo, boo. You always need fuel. You'll eventually run out of fuel, so you're constantly kind of like thinking about that. And your guy does talk. He talks to the AI, talks out loud, thinks out loud. So he'll say stuff like, looks like there's a plasma field over there. I could go to that if I felt like it, but there might be some enemies. It's a cool way of telling you like something you will find out. But it's like I like that. I like the fact that the guy's like, it's not annoying. It's not an annoying implementation of it. He could say like, oh, there's 2 enemy factions fighting over there. I could get involved and reap the benefits, or I could get the hell out of here. So I'm liking it a lot. I started off on the normal difficulty. I can't remember if we talked about this before the stream or during it. Okay. There's a normal difficulty, and then there's an easy and a hard. And the easy one will give you a fraction of the money and XP and stuff that you earn. So it's kind of it feels fine. I dialed it down to easy just because I like having fun with games, and this felt like it was a little challenging on normal. I was dying a lot really quickly, really frequently. So I dialed it down to easy and instantly felt better. Combat is still challenging enough. And, eventually you're going to have those enemies warping in. So it's like, you're never going to beat them. So just warp out. It's cool. I do recommend it if the game catches your interest. I've probably logged a good few hours in it so far. I'm actually going to check. Like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. It moves quickly. Like it moves surprisingly quickly for a game that feels kind of zen in its delivery. It's not this when you are fighting, it's beautiful. It's just big explosions. It's high octane. It's really cool. But when you're just floating through space, it's a cool headspace to be in. I love the look of the game. Probably a lot of people know it from its screenshots and from maybe GIFs of it because it does look amazing. But yeah, Everspace. Check it out. I'm liking it a lot. I would have paid money for this. So this is, I think,
that's a good review.
Yeah, I think this is worth the price. Having gotten it for free, I support it. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. It looks like the kind of just drop in, drop out game. That'll be fun. Other stuff I played. Oh, yes. Hitman. Hit the man. This is the Hitman reboot that came out last year. Over the course of last year, what they did is they started doing it episodically, and I kept hearing people talking about it. Is it hot where you are?
Super.
Super hot.
Well, the problem is I'm in a really uncirculated room with a computer that's blaring hot. With a light that's literally right here.
Oh my god.
So it's just like... So, but continue. I will survive.
So, I will survive. Hit the men. So yes, and it was reviewed very well over the course of the last year, and a lot of people who I trust their opinion of, like they tend to like the kind of games I like. I said, yes, this is really good. This is worth it. It's got its flaws, but it's more good than bad. And I don't know. I haven't been able to. I coincidentally pulled the trigger on it. Really cool is they've released the kind of like mini prologue / tutorial mission, basically, or it's like 2 missions which serve as the game's tutorial. They release those for free. You can go and play them right now. So I downloaded them and I played them, and I was like, yep, I'm gonna buy this. If anyone played Hitman Blood Money and has been looking for a Hitman Blood Money, this is your Hitman Blood Money. It's very much based on do what you want. We will encourage you certain paths or show you what they call opportunities. I should probably explain Hitman if anyone doesn't know what Hitman is.
You're a hitman.
You're a hitman.
Come.
You're this kind of like no name, no personality assassin guy. What a lot of people know
Agent
for
47?
Hitman. Yep. And what a lot of people know Hitman 4 rather is infiltration, using knocking a guy out and using his disguise to maybe get into a situation, and then using like really creative things like, oh, this man's an alcoholic, well, poison his champagne. And then what's cool, what I really like about this game is you have a mark, you have a target, you have a mission, go in, do however you want to, take care of him, and then get out. That's what's so fun. Like Dishonored does this too, where it's like, do the thing and then also survive the exit. Like, so you can't just go in and be like, all right, the guy's got an AK-47. Take the gun, shoot the guy, you win. No, then you'd have to like run. You'd have to get out of there and like get to some viable exit. So this very much encourages you to do things like, okay, you can't come in, like the opening tutorial mission has you infiltrating a boat. And what's funny is they're staged as recreations of missions, so you're actually in like a giant warehouse. It's kind of like Portal 2. It's like you're in a warehouse with a recreation of a boat and actors on it. It's like, yes, we're here to help you train, and learn how to do it. I'm like, but when you shoot the guy, like, how does that? It's like, blank. Oh, that's dummy blood. That's dummy chunks of skull coming out of his head. So it's like, okay, you can't go in the main way because there's a private party going on this boat. But, oh, there's the, the engineers are back there, the workman's entrance. Hey, there's a workman over here, and he's bent over checking something out. Okay, go behind him, choke him out. Okay, I've taken his outfit. Now I got to put the body somewhere because someone will find it. So, okay, look around. Oh, there's a tub here. I'll put him in the tub, close to the thing. So it's very much that kind of stuff. Then you go in and it's like, okay, certain types of workmen or certain types of whatever you're dressed as will know that you're not one of their employees or whatever. So avoid them. It's always constantly challenging. Very fun, rewards creativity. I already just playing the tutorial. I was like, oh, I could think of like 20 other ways I would have done it, but I followed. There's a sort of path that they kind of encourage just to show you. Mm-hmm. But I'm just looking, you're hearing little bits of conversation. You're thinking, oh, I bet that means if I dressed as that guy, or if I did this, or if I poisoned the drink, stuff like that. Like there's a guy, it was really funny. There's a guy that's testing soup. He's mixing soup and he's tasting it. And they want you to take his outfit. And so I'm thinking, okay, I could probably poison the soup. But what they want you to do, what the tutorial is for that one moment is, hey, there's a wrench on this table. We're going to teach you how to throw things to knock people out. And the guy is like literally right there, just like testing the soup. He's like, oh, hello, just, working on this. And it's just literally like, press X to pick up wrench. Press X to throw wrench. And it's just literally, boom! The guy goes down. I was like, was that was literally the subtle, like, knockout method? I'm like, what was the obvious method? It just makes this, like, big, like, doom noise. It was like a cartoon. It was hilarious. I think of the brick in SpongeBob. Hoopla! So, it's cool. I'm very excited to play it. But yes, the tutorial's free. Go pick it up and see if you like it. See if that's your jam. See if you want to go and hit the men. So I'm going to be playing that. Probably not right away, but soon, because I am eager to play it. Mm-hmm. Just real quick, the other stuff I picked up during the Steam sale, again, Remember Me. So I'm eager to play that. I also picked up the entire Shadowrun games.
I got some of them. I also have some of them as
well. Hong Kong, Legends, I think. Yeah. So I'm eager to play those. And some Amanita design games. So that's going to be really fun. Other stuff I played, real quick. I played a teaser for Jenny LeClue, which I didn't know there was one. I've been following Joe Russ on Twitter for a while now, and he's been developing that. And all of a sudden he tweets, it's like, hey, there's a playable teaser for Jenny LeClue. It's a point-and-click puzzle-solving adventure game, you know. Cool art style, good sense of humor about it. You're a, detective girl, seems like a young girl that's solving a mystery. Cool, creative puzzles. This is completely free. This is available on itch. As always, we'll link it on our website. Check it out. I think it's quirky. I could see it not being for everyone. It's definitely got a certain style of humor that I could see probably some people just dinging right off of. But some really creative puzzles. I can't quite tell if the game's going to be spooky, because there's some stuff that's going on. I'm like, whoa, that caught me off guard. It does some cool stuff with its art style. I'm just a fan of a good lightweight puzzly game. Nothing too hard. You can figure out the puzzles. You're not going to be consulting a wiki for this stuff. It's going to take you a little bit of effort, but not too. It's not going to tax your brain. Mm-hmm. At least what is presented there. So it's cool. I like that. And oh yes, lostmemories.net. Okay, this I can't remember. I think it was through Warp Door. I saw this. This is one of those. This is one of those Tom only games. I don't know how else to pitch this to anyone. It's a lot like Emily is Away, in the sense that you are simulating being a 13-year-old girl on both updating your blog, your live journal, and also chatting with your friends in a sort of messenger simulation at the same time. That's the game. The messenger part is very much like Emily is Away. You're not choosing dialogue. You are choosing who you talk to sometimes, which is similar to Emily is Away too. There's a little mini drama that plays out with you and your friend and this guy that you both like. And so I just kind of was playing it from a distance, because it's okay, I wasn't ever a 13-year-old girl, but I relate to these situations in a roundabout way, I don't relate to the let's all get together and talk about makeup parts, but I do relate to the drama of being 13 and, oh my God, we're sitting together on the bus. What do I say to him? Kind of stuff. Well, what do I say to her? Insert gender preference here. And it's really weird because the girl you play as lives on the East Coast, and they talk about going to Boston. They talk about, our big Boston trip is coming up. I was just thinking,
That's funny.
Oh my God, we did that, So the messenger part of it plays out very much like that kind of good old juicy preteen melodrama that I love, things like Emily is Away. But what's the unsung thing about this game is this blog updating mechanic. You're not really updating the blog, you're not making entries, but as you talk, you unlock graphics and links to websites, and it's live journals, sort of Tumblr-esque websites. And so you can see graphics that you like, and like the designer in me is just like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I'm going to save that picture. And you can move them around on your blog and place the pictures or resize them and like change the color and the font of stuff. And I'm just like having an absolute blast having these fake conversations in one window and then going over to the blog and being like, oh, what if I made that part like neon pink and use that wallpaper? Oh, I got this picture of this anime chick. I'll make that like full size, put that in the background. It's ridiculous. I don't know how to pitch this to anyone that's not me.
So for all the Toms out there.
Yeah, if you like stuff like Emily's Away, this is like the pastel pink sister to it. This is if Emily is Away, well,
the millennial pink.
If Emily is Away is simulating being 16 in 2006, 2005, 2006, then this is simulating being 13 in 2003, 2004. So it's drawing from the same. Were you born in 1990? Basically, there's a genre of games out there that's, hey, were you born in 1990? Because we've made games.
I was born in 89, you
okay,
bastard.
Close enough. Truthfully, it's because that's the thing is that's what I thought was actually really interesting is this talks about being a 13-year-old and the game does mark itself as taking place in 2004. So that would be you were born in 1991. Emily is Away assumes you were born in 1989. So it's like represent.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that there's these really specific. They're not quite like virtual novel or dating simulator games, but these kind of interactive fiction delivered through the means that which we communicated at that period of time. Like Emily is Away is designed to look like AOL Instant Messenger. This is designed to look like LiveJournal and a sort of, it's like its own messenger thing, but it feels like AIM or Yahoo or MSN or what have you. But that's lostmemories.net. Amazing music. There's this like dream pop music that plays in the background. The references are really funny because they talk about like it's something I don't really have any reference in, but I know people who are. It's like, wow, I started my own fan blog for such and such character from this anime, and I'm just like, oh my god, I know those. I know what they're talking about. I know that type of archetype. But it's really interesting. If it doesn't sound appealing to you, avoid it at all costs because it's gonna not be your jam. But if it does, yeah, it's really interesting. I like this kind of stuff a lot. The last thing that I wanted to talk about specific to me is I have been doing the 21 Days of VGM challenge, which I got tagged in on Twitter to attempt, and this is absolutely incredible. So this site, gentleman, organization, Video Game Music Academy, he goes by, or it goes by, put this out there, and it said, starting with July 1st, 21 days, write 21 pieces of music. And it obviously, theme kind of being like video game music or music that could be used in a video game. That's sort of what I'm approaching it as, music, themed around video games, stuff like that. And what's really cool is, because I've been doing it, sure, whatever. Yeah, my stuff's out there. But so many people have been doing it. And there are so many really cool pieces of music out there. Like, these are pros. These are amazing. I'm just like, holy shit, I'm among giants and titans here. These guys are great. There is a private group where the bulk of the stuff has been shared, but a lot of them are tagging it on Twitter or on SoundCloud. Some have been on YouTube. Just follow the tag 21 Days of VGM. Look up some of the stuff people have been making for this. This is so cool. What a great gathering of musicians this is pulling out. Like, there have got to be 100+ entries every day so far. It's only day 5, but I've been trying to make a point of listening to most, if not all of them, and I am blown away. I've been retweeting some of them. Again, it's tough because a lot of them have been on the Facebook page, which is a private group, but they're out there. Go listen to them. People are posting them onto their Twitters, again, onto SoundCloud. Follow the tag. It's really cool. Maybe you'll find a new favorite musician in this group. It's so great. I love it a lot. and it's a lot of creativity. Like I'll hear one, it's like, wow, that's a person that's definitely doing the Nintendo JRPG sound, you know? And then you hear another one, it's like, oh my God, this sounds exactly like Zelda. Whoa, this sounds exactly like the Wii menu music. You know, it's just, there's this really cool to hear everyone's different influences and different takes on stuff. Really creative. So.
And with that, we move on to everyone's favorite time of the week.
It's the favorite game of the week, the free game of the week. Even though we've been talking about a ton of free stuff games, this week, we're going to give you one more. Every week we shine a spotlight on a free game that you can go and play right now with our free game of the week segment. And this week is something I played only a few hours ago, but I think everyone should play this. It's so cool. So this has been in development for quite some time. There's some bugs in here. Quite some time now. Some bugs. There are some bugs in this too. This group is doing a full-scale, like pitch-perfect recreation of the Titanic, the famous, completely successful ship, the Titanic. And I remember hearing about this like 4 or 5 years ago, seeing videos of it. It's called Titanic Honor and Glory, specifically. And they have just released a new demo for it, which has a lot of the ship available to walk around. And if you're a fan of museums or museum exhibits or just, you know, vintage kind of reproduction, recreation, what a great thing. I guess it's available in VR as well. Like, holy shit, I would love to see that. But this is just like, you can touch the paint playing this level of recreation. It is so cool. I guess they are making a game out of it in which you are actually on the Titanic. There are people there during the voyage, like the sinking and all of that. As far as I'm concerned, they can just do this, what they're doing right now, and release it as a completely explorable space, and they just would have like accolades out the wazoo because it's so good. It is so. I've said before on this podcast how much I love like boring spaces in video games. Like when a video game says, "Hey, we've got a museum of culture," like Mass Effect Andromeda, the Angara have a museum of like artifacts. I'm just like, I spent like 2 hours in there, just wow, look at this. This is so cool. Look at this piece, and like looking at the little codex entries around them. I love that kind of stuff in real life. So to see that in the game is like, the only annoyance.
Oh boy.
If I have a suggestion, there's the guy you are. Well, you're a guy. You're not you. You're a gentleman. And he narrates. Turn that off. Turn the volume of that right off.
Does he have like a really annoying voice or something?
Well, I'm sure he's supposed to be charming, and he's kind of cracking like double entendre jokes and stuff like that. And I just kind of found it distracting. Maybe just because my intention there was, oh, this is great. This is like if I was walking around a recreation of the Titanic. I want to do what I would do in real life. I want to go and just look at this, look in this room, look at these tables, look at this woodwork and stuff. And to have this guy being like, I used to love chopping wood in my youth. They used to call me the wood boy. I don't know why they always laughed at me when I said I've got wood. I'm like, oh, this doesn't have a place in this game,
Oh my God, it's a fucking iceberg.
Yeah, well, it's just like iceberg. That's cold kind of jokes. As a fan of bad jokes, it just did not match.
As a fan of bad jokes.
Yeah, like save those kind of jokes for Saints Row or South Park or things like that. But it just, I didn't like the concept at all of the narrator. It didn't, I didn't need it. I don't even need this to be a game. I'm just eager to see the development of it. So that's just my little 2 cents. I know the devs, I'm sure, have a vision, and kudos to them for going through with it. But if you could release just like an explorable version of this Titanic,
that's completely mute.
Just muted, just the ambient sounds were great. There's a little music playing, this good and all. But wow, the detail. oh my god, this is like a 5 gig download, so get ready. This is not just a like one-off, oh, I'll check this out. Like you're going to commit to this. But that's Titanic, Honor and Glory. As always, with every free game of the week and all the games we talk about every week, those will be linked on our website,
which is addictedtoloot.com. From there, you can get everything, including our group email address, which is addictedtoloot@gmail.com. You can get links to our Facebook, our YouTube, our Twitch, which is where you can come join us for the live recording of our podcast every single week and just make your voice be heard live on air. You can also get links to our audio-only versions of this podcast, which are on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. Please leave a review on any one of those sites that you do listen to us on, and please, as always, pass us on to your friends or whoever you think might just like hanging out with us or hearing us yap at them about how much we hate BioWare games nowadays.
Oh.
But including that, you can also get...
Was that this same episode? This
Yes.
has been a long one.
Yeah, it's been a long episode. But you can also get links, or you can also find out our group Twitter, which is at addicted2loot, where you could follow us just to make sure you get any updates on the channel when the podcast is actually going to happen or anything else. Channel
We've got a new picture.
Yes, we have a brand new picture of what it might look like if we were both in The Sims doing podcasts together.
I've been playing a lot of The Sims lately.
So our group Twitter at Addicted to Loot is mainly just for Addicted to Loot notifications
Updates.
and announcements.
Yep.
Anything else, we've actually made a decision of just doing that on our own personal Twitters. So with that being said, my personal Twitter is at ATL_Atomic0. His is at Tomality, TOMALITY. And as always, we've been Addicted to Loot, episode 49 of the Addicted to Loot podcast. And as always,
Keep it in the lifeboats.